Well. Here we are. What a day it's been. And there's other things going on too. We got a lot of pissed off people. We got a lot of angry people. But at the same time, we got a lot of realistic, calming down people. So we got a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on. We got a game on Sunday. I got a flight tomorrow. And we got surprising news today, but maybe not so surprising. And we got a bunch of theories and a lot of reasons why. And we're going to go into all of it. And we're going to have a plethora of people. Is that a word? Am I saying it right? I don't know. Tigo or Watsu K99 will let me know later. It's soon enough. A plethora, I don't know. From a guy from Brooklyn, that's not that bad. Anyway, did they make the right decision about Zach Wilson? Are they handling the Zach Wilson situation correctly? We're going to find out. We're going to get all into that stuff. I would regret it if people look back at the first episode and you weren't on it.
Yeah, well, I like that. It's called forward thinking.
One of the worst beats in the world. We do. Our beat is horrible.
Connor could shove that article up his ass.
And then I went to that game, and I was like, this is the greatest team I've ever seen in my life. I'm a Jet fan. This is going to be the greatest run ever. Yeah.
No, because if they take Ekwonu, I'm not complaining.
Joe Douglas is the king of keeping shit close to the vest.
A 2, a 4, and a 6 for Darnold?
Did the Jets really ruin Sam Darnold, or did Sam Darnold just suck all along and we were just trying to talk ourselves into it?
And Hamilton is a player who can potentially make a very big impact.
And suddenly here we are today. You can't get rid of him.
Right. It's like a plague.
Joe Douglas was hired because he's not those general managers.
Okay, Luscious.
Somebody is going to fall just like Elijah Moore did, just like Michael Carter did.
What would, if you had one sentence to say to Joe Douglas, what would you say? So you would say, you had me at hello, and then give him a big old wet one right on the smack.
Oh, have times changed? Anyway, let's get rolling. Let's get cracking. The first thing I like to do is say hello to some people in the chat that were here from the very beginning, re-upping his membership after canceling it. Michael Lando, what's up, buddy? Good evening to you. Good evening to Eric Craig. What's going on, Eric Craig? Mike Elysia in Florida. What's going on? He's taking pictures of some beautiful women. Jets mess. I am snacks, and I had my snacks. I did. I had a lot of snacks. I'm feeling pretty full, though, believe it or not. But in a couple of days, yeah, literally in 2 days, I'm going to be eating like a king because I'm going to New York and I'm going to Staten Island, and one of the kings of Staten Island is taking me and Green Bean out for some really good pizza. So I'm not happy with the way they're handling the injuries either. Steve Engel, Mr. Grumpy, Mr. Grouchy, all the way in New Jersey. What's going on, my friend? I hope you're well. Harlan Abraham, out there. What's going on? And you're right. They shouldn't forget to hit the like button. I appreciate that. It looks like we got J. Cole here, and he insists on calling me NFL Cast with Jeremy. Same thing. And can you make me dumplings? Maybe just a lemonade for Watsuke. I think he'll drink it. It's good, if he was here where I'm in Sacramento, he would drink it because it's hot. Snowball in the house. What's going on, brother? Hope you're doing well. Jacob Finnegan. I am an egghead. I'm snacks. I'm an egghead. I'm so many things. It's crazy. It never ends. I'm sure you'll think of some other names too. Pickles. I'm not in the mood for pickles. It dehydrates you in the heat. It's not a good thing to be eating. The show can start officially because we have Dark Soldier here, and Media's here. Buffalo's here. He's got the link, so he doesn't have to be back there if he doesn't want to be. Hint, hint. Wink, wink. We got Gino Italy Jet, who I hope to bump into on this Sunday. And I was supposed to be on a show on Monday. Unfortunately, those of you might not know, it was 110 degrees in Sacramento. We're in a major heat wave, and me and my wife busted out of Sacramento. We've been in the Bay Area and San Francisco, so I didn't make it home on time. But I'll be announcing when I'm going to be on his show again. So just keep an eye out for that. It'll probably be after I get back from the trip. At some point, we'll reschedule. Thanks for being here, man. Finnegan is still here. I just wanted to point that out. He didn't run away or go anything. And I think I covered everybody, right? I think I said hello to most people that are here. Hope everybody hit the like button. It's time to introduce my co-host. But if I don't give him music, he's going to give me attitude. Like, how come I didn't get music today? So let's get some music going in the house. This is not a happy man. Well, the Mets did rebound and win a couple of games today, so maybe he's not as sour as he was. But let me tell you something about my man. My man is unhappy with a certain broadcasting company called ESPN. And he's going to tell us why he's mad at ESPN. He is the hot dog eating, pizza eating, Virginia fan club presidenting, Wikimedia sports casting, Wiki chair sitting, North Carolina visiting, greatest co-host in the world, Y2K99.
You rang, sir?
What is going on?
I am breaking out the official Jets game day helmet. The new season is upon us. This is what I wear every game, no matter where I am, whether I'm with the Virginia Jets fans or whether I'm doing something else. This helmet goes with me wherever I go, and I am premiering it here tonight on Wacky Wednesday. What else would I possibly do it but with you and with the cast of thousands already here in the chat? The dozens in the chat. We love having you here. We are excited. It is a brand new season. Yes, there are things that are aggravating us. Yes, there are things that have us excited, but let's just get at it. Let's start this season, and I'm ready to talk about it.
Okay, well, I invited a lot of people tonight. Tonight's a weird night. We'll go into it. I'm feeling weird. I always do before flights. I got a big trip ahead of us, big week ahead of us, big weekend ahead of us. Everything's going crazy. We got big news today. I mean, it's just out of control. So it's going to get crazy in here, but let me get started with our first guest. Perspective. That's what this man is. And why? Because he just had a baby. And it's hard to not put things in perspective when you have a newborn child. It's a boy. It's going to be a tall boy. It's going to be a big boy. And he's going to be a Jets fan, like his father. He is the opinionated, the shocking, the go against the grain, non-conforming, also fast-growing YouTube channel content provider, one of my newest good friends in the world, Diego!
What is going on, guys?
Good to see you.
What's happening?
Oh, just another day of woe is me Jets fans and everyone panicking and freaking out over something that's not that serious.
I'm glad that somebody's got their their positive thinking hat on, because there's a lot of
it's another instance where Tigo will be in the minority. I'm not saying it means he's wrong, but I am saying he'll probably be in the minority.
Oh no, I know I'm in the minority, but my thing is like, how is the person who we all, I think, can unanimously agree of all of the Jets content creators, it's probably a tie between me and Ryan from Jets Talk 24/7, who are the most sleep deprived out of all of us. How is it that, and I don't know Jets Talk 20, I don't know what Ryan's take is on all this stuff that happened today, but like, I'm guessing he's with me because we had like a 3-hour conversation the other night about like a bunch of stuff, and we tend to think very alike on some stuff. How are the two most sleep deprived Jets content creators the ones that just are like, yeah, it's not that big a deal?
Because you've had enough time to think about it. You've overthought it to the point where you're just exhausted. You're like, okay, I'm done. It's good.
I guess.
Maybe that has something to do with it.
It was funny because that like I this morning I knew that the announcement was going to come of whether it was going to be Zach Wilson or whether it was going to be Joe Flacco. So I pre-made both a Zach Wilson as the starting QB and then Joe Flacco as a starting QB because like I have the baby all day. It would be really hard to make a video without it. So I just thought that it was going to be, hey, they start the press conference and then the first question would have been, who's the starting quarterback? And then Robert would have been like, we're going with Zach Wilson or we're going with Joe Flacco. And that would have been the end of it. And then I would just be able to go live and I'd have the first video out. It was going to be great. And so I'm sitting there feeding my baby, right? And I'm just like, cool, watching this press conference. And then he goes out and says, I don't want to talk about it anymore. He drops the news and I was like, crap. So if you go watch my video for today about the Zach Wilson news, my baby's in it. He's in the bottom corner being fed, sitting there nice and quiet because I was like, no, I have to make a video on this. And luckily he was nice and calm for like the 5 to 6 minutes it took me to make that video. Funny thing is I stopped and I ended the recording button and he immediately started freaking out and started screaming. I was like, that's like perfect timing.
That's good. He's young enough. He doesn't know yet. He should treasure these days before he finds out.
Before he knows about the Jets.
Exactly.
So, okay, so my initial reaction was annoyance, perturbed. I went nuts on Twitter. I just got irritated. I don't like the. It's just aggravating to me because it feels like, and it's really not because of the situation with Zach Wilson as much as it's bringing back the whole Becton thing to me. It just seems like every time someone gets injured, it's this. I don't know. It's like Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Puffs, and then. And then it just gets worse and worse. And sometimes it just pushed me over the edge today. I know that I should be grateful. I mean, we almost had a torn ACL. We almost lost him for the year. It would have been a complete catastrophe for the organization because we would have lost an entire year. We would have had to go into his year 3, not knowing what we had. I mean, I get it. We're lucky if he's going to play at all. If he plays week 4, it's still, knock on wood, if he stays healthy, we still get 13 games. We get a really good sample size. He gets to develop. I get it. But, I lost it a little bit before when I first heard, because it's just a repetitive pattern. This whole 2 to 3 weeks, so 2 to 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. So his body's healing differently. People heal differently. So it's 10 weeks. And, it's like, are we spinning out of control again? Is it going to be Pittsburgh week comes along and then we find out he's not coming back until Denver or Green Bay? That's my worry. So that was how I perceived it.
It gave me shades of the Kelechi Osemele, like that whole debacle, right? The team says he's healed. The player says but kind of like the opposite. But I don't know, man. Like, to me, the moment I heard him say that, I was like, oh, so like we know what happened here, right? It's the first 3 weeks are 3 of the best defenses in the NFL. Right? Yeah. Like the Ravens have really, really good outside corners, one really good safety, and that's Marcus Williams, not Kyle Hamilton. And then Odafe Owe can edge rush. And as much as I want to sit here and say that, Calais Campbell is 1,000,000 years old and Justin Houston is 1,000,000 years old, and they've got a lot of really old pieces in their linebacker room and on their front, their defensive line. Like, we knew that he was going to miss this game no matter what, right? Like, that's fine. But like week 2, going up against, is it the Bengals or is it Cincy? It's the Browns, right? The Browns are one of the best defenses in the NFL. And then you go to Cincinnati week 3 and it's just like, there's another really, really good defense. They're not like, they don't necessarily have like a TJ Watt or a Myles Garrett on their team, but they've got a lot of really solid pieces up and down the roster, like on the defensive side of the ball. So like you look at it, and to me, I heard the news and I was like, oh, so the offensive line just hasn't looked good. That's what it was. Immediately, that's my thought was. The offensive line hasn't looked good against our defensive line, and we're not going to put Zach with a bone bruise in earlier than we have to. We're going to shelter him a little bit, and we're going to let Joe Flacco kind of run it through, because by week 4, we can beat Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky. We can beat the Steelers. And that's the way I looked at it immediately. I was like, it has to be something with the offensive line, and we're not going to risk him getting re-injured because this offensive line was supposed to be one of our best units now isn't one of our best units because of the tackle situation. That's the way I looked at it, has to be the offensive line isn't that great, and we're just protecting Zach.
And even better, it turns out that the injury report was released after Robert Salah spoke to the media, and lo and behold, Dwayne Brown did not practice today because of a shoulder injury. So all of a sudden now,
didn't even know that.
Yep, he did not practice today. He's got a shoulder injury. So getting George Fan on the line. Hey, George, that thing we told you about moving to right tackle, could you move back to the left side for us? We changed our minds again for the 930th time since you've been a Jet, and maybe let's get Tigo excited. Let's plug in Max Mitchell right now at right tackle. Let's get after him. Yeah, that's the offensive line we're going to go with against the AFC North the first 4 weeks. Let's go ahead with that situation. So, yeah, my only thing with this is I don't want Zach Wilson to be babied the way that certain teams baby their stars. We could get to examples, but just in New York, whether it's the Nets with half their roster, whether it's the Mets with Jacob deGrom, are the Jets babying Zach Wilson? It's like, oh yeah, we don't want to put him behind there. Because we don't really trust him enough to play well enough to beat these teams. That's one way to look at it also. You can make the argument, but if you're making that argument too, it's like, well, the offensive line isn't coming together. Well, if I'm an offensive lineman, I'm pretty pissed off about that. That's how the coaching staff and management apparently thinks of me. So I think if I had been Robert Salah, I would not have said he's out for up until this period of time at least. All he had to say was Zach will not play this week and we'll reevaluate next week. That's all he had to say, and there would be no controversy in my mind. You're shaking your head. Go ahead, Tico.
I disagree because the controversy just gets pushed down a week. That's all you're doing. If they internally made the decision that he wasn't going to start until week 4, if they go out and say, hey, he's not starting this week, we're going to reevaluate, the same conversations that we're having now about, or like that people are freaking out about now, oh, what is this medical staff doing? What is this coaching? All of that, just you extend it till week 2, and it has to be a thing every week. If he just goes out and says what he did today, everybody can freak out this week and we forget about it by week 2. The media and fans and everybody have short memories when it comes to this stuff. If we can all freak out about it before week 1, we can all have this, oh my gosh, fire everybody. What is this coaching staff doing? And have that reaction. We won't have it next week because next week we know who the starter is. We know what's going to be happening. And we can just straight up just talk about the Browns. And that's what's going to be the conversation for the whole time. So that's my take on it, on that specific part of it.
Okay, trying to minimize the distraction. I could see your point.
Yeah, put all of the distraction on week 1.
But, okay, yeah, the only issue is, now you could accuse Salah of either being completely not knowing what's going on or lying. And that's what I have a problem with, because Robert Salah took a hit in a lot of people's eyes. He took a little bit of a hit in my eyes. I'm not going to go to the level of some people who say, okay, he absolutely has no business being a head coach here. I'm not going to mention anybody by name, but there are people who are saying that in the chat right now. And I wonder about that because, like you said, we dealt with that with Becton. We dealt with that with what was it? Yeah, with Becton last year. Yeah, with the injury when we thought it would be about a month, then it wound up being the season. It's like, stop giving us these freaking timelines. It makes us look like you don't know what you're doing, or there's some disconnect between the front office and the coaching staff. Isn't that amazing? We have been so excited. I'll make this point quick. We have been so pumped up all offseason, and now the point when we have the least confidence in the organization is game week. Only the Jets could do that.
It's aggravating because it's like with Becton, it was, this year was, he's wearing a knee brace. That's just precaution. Then of course the next day he goes down. Like, don't tell me precaution. All of a sudden he's wearing a knee brace, right? And then the next day he goes down. And it's like, oh, it structurally looks okay. It looks good structurally. We look like we're okay. And then do you understand the pattern? And then it's like, oh, Zach, 2 to 4 weeks. And then it's like, oh, he might start. and now it's like earliest Pittsburgh, right? And then it's like now you don't trust. Now you have this sick feeling in your stomach because you're like, is it going to be Pittsburgh? Or is he going to come back and then say, oh, well, maybe Miami. Now we're 50-50 on Miami. And then it's not Miami. I mean, like, and then all of a sudden we're talking about half the season. Without our rookie our sophomore quarterback not knowing if he's the right guy. So that's what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned that this is just going to get worse and worse because I don't feel like we have a head coach we can trust anymore. Like, I just don't know what to expect anymore. So now until he takes the field, and somebody I think said it, I think it was Jacob Finnegan, until he's on the field, I don't believe it now. I have no faith in anything that he says, Salah. I have no faith in, any of their projections anymore because they seem to just not know, or it's just our bad luck that it's always the worst case scenario. So just give us the worst case scenario because we're the Jets. And whatever it is, it's going to be the worst case scenario. If they say Dwayne Brown is it's day to day, that means he's missing 2 weeks. Just translate it that way because that's what it is with this team. It always
Do you think Wilson had a setback and that just happened this week?
I don't think so. He was walking around. He was doing drills. He was on the bike. He was doing all those things. I honestly think that this comes down to the offensive line. I think it comes down to the offensive line. This offensive line hasn't been able to, and we talked about this in the preseason. Me and Buffalo did like 8 minutes just talking about this offensive line when we were doing the post-game show. Like, this offensive line unit hasn't been able to create any push at all in the run game. It's like they run into these defensive linemen and they just stay in place. They're not moving these guys at all. And then in pass protection, it's looked abysmal. The one area of our team that was supposed to get better almost looked like it's regressed. And my thing is the reason I'm not freaking out is, one, because every single time Robert Salah talks about an injury or talks about anything, he always prefaces it or follows it up by saying, look, we're going to find out more when we hear from the medical staff, but me, I'm the eternal optimist. He literally tells you that he's always going to look at the best case scenario. He tells us every single time. And he always prefaces it or follows it by saying, you know what, though? We're going to wait until we hear from the medical staff to have a definitive answer. And then he tells us a date for that. I honestly think, and I didn't even know about the Dwayne Brown not practicing thing. I think, honestly, they put Fant back on the left side. Fant hasn't looked good on the left side. They put Connor McDermott in on the right side because I don't think Max is going to start. Because I think Max still needs to put on weight. We've talked about this. And as much as I love Max Mitchell, I don't think he's ready to start yet. You add and do all of these things, and you look at it and you go, look, he's injured. Like, Zach is hurt. So we're not going to start in week 1. And the thing is that a bone bruise is a serious injury. Stiff ankle just said it. If you look up a bone bruise, that's something that if we don't give it the time, it can become serious. So even though the meniscus stuff was like a 21-day turnaround, you have the surgery, you're back on your feet and you're working out and you're doing all that stuff, that's fine. But that's not what we're worried about with this injury. It's the bone bruise. Yeah. So I think they looked at this and they said, we're not going to put him up against the Ravens because of the injury. We're not going to put him up against these two teams because the offensive line is bad. And because of the injury, we'll give them the Steelers because, like they said, the Steelers have 2.5 players that we should worry about on their defensive side of the ball. That's TJ Watt. TJ Watt a second time. He's that good. He should be counted twice. And then the other 0.5 of a player is a combination of Minka Fitzpatrick and Miles Jack. And that's really it. Their corners are abysmal. Their linebacker core is abysmal.
Okay, so before we find out if you like raviolis, we got something going on here. So hold on, everybody. Give me a second. We have somebody else that's about to join the fray. We'll see if you can figure out who it is as I do my intro. He came onto the scene just months ago. And here he is exploding like a rock star. Bigger than Edgar Allan Poe. He's badass and tall. He looks like he could throw the ball. This guy knows how to eat sauce. from Buffalo. He's on the go.
That
I'm out
narrows
of
it down.
rhymes. I'm just gonna say, he is the wing-eating, video-making, subscriber-grabbing, live show thunderizing machine. Kiss me on the forehead when the Jets win. Greatest YouTube content provider in upstate New York and the world. The Buffalo Jet fan.
What's going on? A lot of caveats after greatest YouTube content provider.
In upstate
In the upstate New York area.
Yes, in the upstate New York area of the world. Hey, man, I'll take it. What's going on, guys?
Just another slow news day. You tell us.
Yeah, man, nothing to talk about tonight, right?
Welcome to the Woe Is Me and Tigo trying to have a measured take show. That's what this is.
Well, Tigo, I haven't heard what you had to say, but I'm looking forward to disagreeing with you.
I watched your video and I was like, okay, let's calm down with the drama. Come on, guys. It's not that serious.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's more off the field than on the field that we've gotten into. I'm not scared of Joe Flacco playing quarterback in these first 3 games.
Me neither.
God willing, first 3 games, being that Salah is the eternal optimist. I feel like now you have to sign a 2 or 3 game curve, to where, okay, week 5, week 6, if Salah's so optimistic, then it might even be worse than he's letting on. But for me, it was more of the image of the organization, and that the people who hate this franchise can kind of throw the SOJ line out again, and that's what bothers me more than the on-field situation.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think to put it in perspective, I think if Zach Wilson comes back in 4 weeks and he's playing really good, then it doesn't matter. That's the headline. And if he comes back in 4 weeks and he's not looking good, then it doesn't matter. And that's going to be the headline. Like, is Zach Wilson good or not is going to be the most important thing of this season. But I think the reason why I'm so in my feelings about it is it's just to have the most exciting offseason that I can remember in a long time. And for it to actually be legit. There's been a few times where we quote unquote won the back page and it was a little phony. But this is actually something that we're building, getting 4 first-round talents. A lot of the guys we signed are young, in their prime. They know this system. They can jump in and play right away. And I just wanted to, as Green Bean says all the time, like, just to show up to week 1 with the team we were supposed to have. Like, is that too much to ask for? And then for about 48 hours to get my hopes up as somebody who's spending a lot of money to go be there, the thought that we could see Zach Wilson out there. And now the fact that we might be opening the season with Connor McDermott protecting the blind side of Joe Flacco. Like, I mean, however, so what Jets fans are debating about right now is how bad is this? It's not good. So maybe some of us are overreacting and saying it's terrible. It's not good. Don't tell me any of this is good. All right. Joe Flacco playing extended period of time, not good. All right, Zach Wilson having 2 injuries to his right knee back-to-back years, not good. A 14 to 28 day timeline, now it's 60 days till he's playing, not good. So it's a bummer. It's a bummer day to be a Jets fan, but you know what? Maybe Robert Salah was playing 4D chess and John Harbaugh was waking up in a cold sweat in the middle of the night. Oh my God, is it going to be Zach Wilson or Joe Flacco? And if it was the gamesmanship thing, why didn't we keep the gamesmanship going? Why didn't we say he's week to week, and then we could have gamesmanshiped Cleveland and gamesmanshiped Cincinnati, and you could have flown all across the Midwest. People would have been fainting in the street, not knowing if it was Joe Flacco or Zach Wilson. Doctor, what happened? Oh, he didn't know if it was Joe Flacco or Zach Wilson. Oh my God, not again. I mean, so here's what I'll say: if the Jets go out there on Sunday and they look like a professional, competent football team, then it was gamesmanship, and if they don't, then it was incompetence. That's a deal I'm willing to make.
See, I just disagree. I agree with the whole, here's the thing, man, is the whole idea is, I think we were all optimistic that Zach was going to make it week 1, but the timeline, if I went back, because I was going to make a video on it, and then it was just going to take too long, and I had the baby, and he was screaming at me, and it just wasn't going to work out. But I went back and looked at
Can your son play quarterback?
He can in
Or offensive line?
21 and a half years.
Okay.
But the thing is I was looking back at the tweets, and every single one of the tweets by all of the Adam Schefters and Peliceros and insert Daniel Jeremiah's or whoever it is that you want to talk about. All of the tweets were talking about the meniscus tear, right? Everything was revolved around the meniscus tear, and people were like, oh, he's having surgery, so the focus needs to be on the meniscus, and this is what we're talking about, and blah, 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 insert whatever complicated whatever here. But they always forgot about the bone bruise, because that's the major part of the injury. That's what we're worried about, is the bone bruise. So that's the first thing. And the one thing, I told this to Adam before you came in, Buffalo, I was like, the reason you couldn't keep the gamesmanship going on is because it's the New York Jets, right? If he would have kept the gamesmanship going on and on and on and on and on, now it's week 3 when we know we weren't going to start him as an organization. They've obviously made the decision that they weren't going to start him until the Steelers. So if they lie to the media constantly, then it becomes an even bigger issue, because instead of talking about, hey, Zach could have started week 1, it's not. Now he's starting week 4. The media can freak out about it for 1 week, and we can all freak out about it for 1 week, play Baltimore, and then everybody forgets about it. Because now the first half of the week is talking about how do we look against Baltimore. The second half of the week is how are we going to look against Cleveland. If you keep it going, then the conversation about Zach Wilson's injury keeps on going, and it continues to be a thing. By getting it out of the way right now, we can have the conversation once, and we can never talk about it again at that point. And my thing is I think they looked at this offensive line and they said, there's no way we're putting him with a bone bruise still behind this offensive line when there's a real chance that Connor McDermott, like you said, is covering the blind side, or not Joe Flacco, but George Fant has moved back to the left side after moving back to the right side, back from the left side, back from the right side, whatever million times that we've moved him from tackle to tackle. So I just look at it and I go, you can clearly see what's happening, and I'm not happy about this, but you can clearly see we're babying Zach in this situation, and I'm just like, that's what I'm not happy about. I don't want to be babying Zach. We need to see if he's a good NFL quarterback or not. But him missing Baltimore and I just don't think it's woe is me. Like, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. We can't trust this coaching staff anymore. Like,
No.
If you look back at the press conference, and I mean every press conference that there's an injury and Robert Salah is talking about it, he always says these two things. One, I don't know exactly, but here's what I do think from what I've heard, but we'll find out more from the medical staff. And then 2, the other thing he says is, I'm an eternal optimist. I'm always going to give you the best case scenario. It's what he's always done, and he's always said and told us that that's what it is. But it's that selective hearing. It's that selective reporting, right? He says 9 words in a quote, but we're only taking the first 4, even though the back 5 are the things that fill in the context. It's like looking at stats without looking at the context of what the team is, you know?
I'm going to really quickly say thank you, Jets New York 102, for the super chat. To put it simply, we just can't get it. We just can't get right. Shaking my head. Yeah, it always seems like it's something, and I think that was right after Buffalo was speaking. You know, I think there's 2 things going on here. We're talking about, how we look at the injury and what we should have expected, and but then there's the other side of the coin. And I think what's the real frustration is, why is it us? Like, why it's every year? Like Becton again. Last year it was Lawson, and now here we are looking at Wilson. Out for who knows how long. And it just seems like, why can't we ever get a break? And I think the cure is winning on Sunday, whether it's Flacco or, Wilson, if it's, so it's Flacco, we just got to win. We need, even if we can only beat the Ravens 20% of the time, we need it to be that 20% of the time. We just need to win. However, the odds are stacked against us. We just need something nice to happen for us as a fan base. We need to just win a game. We don't need to be looking down the tunnel of an 0-4 start or something crazy like that. I mean, it's just too long. It's just been going on too long. We got players. We got talent. It just has to happen. And we'll forget about all this, and we'll be okay if we go 2-2 the first 4 games, or if we're 1-1 or 2-1 after the first 3 weeks. Then all of a sudden we're excited. Okay, Zach's coming back. But even if he doesn't, at least we're sitting there saying we're 2-1, and we're happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
but we need something positive. And maybe the most least greedy thing to do, rather than say, oh, he should be back, maybe he's really coming back next week, maybe the thing we should really be hoping for is we just freaking go out and win on Sunday, regardless of who is hurt and who's playing quarterback. Let's just win the game.
I go a long way, man. A lot of things are with this fan base, I think the Jets, a win for the New York Jets on opening day would mean as much for any team in the NFL. I truly believe that, because the number one, the September streak is gone. If you break the September streak right away, that's huge. And without looking it up, I don't know if I could quite remember off the top of my head, like, when's the last time the Jets beat a team as good as the Ravens? I guess the Titans game, you'd have to say, but it's
Cincy.
Yeah,
maybe the Rams the prior year, maybe.
Yeah, so it's been like a handful, probably like 5 teams in the last 5 years that we've beaten that are good. And there's been like the trap game element, right? The Mike White game. There's been a little smoke and mirrors to it, but this is legit. This is opening week. You're not surprising anyone on opening week. Everybody's fired up. Everyone's had time to prepare, and that would be huge, because that means we don't suck. If we beat the Ravens, it doesn't mean we're good. If we lose to the Ravens, it doesn't mean we're terrible. But if you go out there and you beat this team, a team that sucked doesn't win this game, in my opinion. So that would be huge, and all of this would go away, because then we're like, worst case scenario, we're 1-2 when Zach comes back, and everything else is on track from there. So that the proof is going to be in the pudding. On Robert Salah, all this, people ask me, all gas, no brake, 60%. What do you think about it? We're going to see. If the Jets are bad, the jokes will write themselves, and if they're good, then I'm with it. That's where I'm at with Coach Salah. I wish he didn't say that Zach was going to play. That to me, if he knows the bone bruise, takes 6 months, whatever, 2 years to heal, apparently, then he shouldn't have said that. And if we're going to do you have to wait until he's 110% healthy, his mind, body, soul, and spirit, then why not week 10? Why not 150% healthy? He'll be healthier week 10 than he will be week 4. Why not week 10? Why are we going to rush him back week 4? Where he's going to get hurt again.
If we rush him back in week 4, he's only at 60%. You can't get below 60%.
Right. I think that has been like a frustrating conversation to have, and it's like, obviously we all want him to be healthy, but obviously all NFL teams make a decision at some point to play a player after an injury. Like, there's a threshold where you say, okay, now we're going to go ahead and play him. If we rested him longer, you could be more healthy, and do the Jets get the benefit of the doubt? Well, if they win Sunday, then they do, in my book. I'm with you, Jeremy. There's a lot that could be waxed over with a W against the Baltimore Ravens, and it's a winnable game. I think it is.
I don't disagree. I think it is a winnable game. I think the real thing that, like, the expectation for me now is, like, the season doesn't start till week 4, right? Like, really? And in my mind, if we can just get a win in September, if we can go into week 4 1-2, I'm happy. And I think we have to get those wins either against Baltimore or Cleveland. Those are our best shots. Just because it's Baltimore week 1, you try to get the hype game. There's no tape on anybody. And then week 2, you try to bully Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
I think you have to go into week 4 1-2, because that's when the season starts. And that's when everything happens. And, like, I don't want to be the person that says this, because I don't want to believe that the head coach is doing this. But I saw this comment and I never thought about it until I read the comment. It was in the comment section or whatever. But it kind of also makes a little bit of sense. How many fans maybe wouldn't go if the hope of Zach Wilson wasn't there, right? How many tickets were sold because of the Zach might play? I don't know if that's an actual thing, right? And I want to hope that our head coach isn't doing that. But
no,
if
I don't
Woody
think
gives
so.
you a call and the guy signs your paychecks,
Those are the fair weather New York football fans who jump between the Giants and Jets, root for both teams equally, and they'll go to whichever game there's a reason to go to.
Yeah, okay. That's super tinfoil hat, and it felt dirty saying it because I don't necessarily believe it, but it is something to think about. I just
Maybe he
I'm
thought it
not
would
that
make
worried
for a
about
really good Wacky Wednesday show if he said that.
yeah. We all know that
We'd
he's
have
a
done a good
subscriber.
shot. We'd have done a good show anyway with that.
Boogie Down Bronx, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. He says, "What's up, guys? The spirit of the Jet fan base will be tested on Sunday. If it's competitive and close, game, we can deal with the results." I agree. Go
Yep.
Jets.
I agree.
Question for you, Boogie Down Bronx: are you going to the game? Let us know. Interested if you're going to the game. If you are, definitely go to, I think it's Lot D, right, Buffalo, for the Jets Lounge tailgate party.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, it's like lots D or E. You go to the Jet Lounge and figure it out on Twitter. But anyway, go down there and say hello, man. Me and Buffalo will be there. Green Bean will be there. Ryan, Matt O'Leary, all the YouTube guys. So many of us, not all of us, but a lot of us are going to be there. Definitely say hello, and thank you so much for the super chat, brother. I appreciate it. Okay, so
I need you to highlight Iowa and Jet fans' comment, his latest one, because that's where I'm at with the whole thing. He worded it perfectly so that I don't have to say anything.
I would thank you for that.
I think Salah would get the
I'm
news
just
and
kidding.
ask what the absolute best case scenario would be for recovery, and that's what he'll tell the media because he's an optimist. Well, I think that one of the things he might have to learn, if he cares, maybe he doesn't care about the fans or what they think or whatever, or the opinion of them. But one of the things that determines someone's likability, especially someone in the position that makes promises or predictions or forecasts, is to set the right expectations. So you could literally have the same exact outcome, but look either bad or good based on the expectations that you set. So if you set an expectation and say, I think, we're going to be 70% effective because of this reason, but I think we're growing and we're going to get better, and then you finish at 75%, you're really popular. If you say we're going to be 90% effective and you finish at 75%, same exact situation, you're not popular. So you might need a lesson on expectation setting.
It's clear. It's that sales thing, right? You under promise and over deliver. Right? It's just you got to It seems like this is just another one of those sophomore head coach isms kind of a thing. When he was in San Francisco, he could be the eternal optimist with his guys and with his coaching staff because he never had to face the music kind of a thing. You weren't calling for the defensive coordinator to talk to the media. How many times have we seen Jeff Ulbrich talking to the beat? As many times as how many times have we seen Mike LaFleur? And I would love if we had a sitting Mike LaFleur press conference, because I love hearing that guy talk football. I would pay money to sit in a seminar of his just to hear him talk football. But I think it's another one of those, hey, maybe it's just a new head coach-ism that he's got to learn. It's the same way Zach needs to learn to stop trying to fall forward and get that extra yard, slide and live to fight another down. Coach Salah needs to be like, hey, maybe I don't tell him it's 3 weeks when the high end is like 6 weeks, and then I have these people yelling at me.
Yeah, I don't think he went out there with the intention to lie to the fans. Obviously, because what's in it for him to do that? He knew that this would be the reaction that's coming. I think it's just it's almost like more of a public. I don't know if the Jets have a training staff issue more than they have a communication issue or a public relations issue, because they cleaned house with the training staff. And like Jeremy said, maybe he doesn't care. But I think, I don't know, you're a multi-billion-dollar corporation. How you communicate with your consumers and your customers. I've seen fast food restaurants issue paragraph-long apologies after a tweet that people didn't like. So I think that they do care a little bit. Now, I'll care a lot more about what he does on the football field. Obviously, he handles the media a lot better than Adam Gase. I mean, I think it's important to remember where we're coming from. You know, like a guy who was literally high out of his mind in his opening presser. Like when you really think about and whenever I start to get down on like the Jets and where we're at now, I pull up the 2019 depth chart. And it's just crazy. It's worse. It's like worse than you think. So that's important. And yeah, like Tiago said, he'll learn. Maybe he's got a. It's just kind of weird though, because they had things like Osemele and Enunwa. I don't know if you guys touched on that before I got on, but even and then with Mackay, where like players' agents were saying that they're handling my injuries or communicating them the wrong way. So maybe they just need to be more vague in the future for the time being, and then just go win some damn football games and I'll be good.
Can we have Adam address this question first? Yeah. It's been quiet for a while. Yeah. Grandizer's coming in.
That's okay.
3 keys for the Jets to beat the Ravens. We'll start with that, and we'll take turns, and then we'll do the 3 keys for the Ravens to beat the Jets. How about that?
Okay. Do you want me to just give one key? We'll kind of go around.
Sure.
Okay. One big key for the Jets to beat the Ravens. I'm trying to think if I want to go with offense or if I want to go deep. If I want to focus on O or on D here. I think one of the keys is beat them over the middle. I would test the safeties and the linebackers of the Ravens defense quickly. I know Marcus Williams is very good, but I would go after Chuck Clark or Kyle Hamilton, whoever they play at safety, and I would go after these linebackers. I'm not a big fan of what they have. Patrick Queen is not a good coverage linebacker. Okay, this is where I would use Ty Conklin. I would put CJ block in this game. I want CJ to block a lot more because I think this offensive line is going to need help. Yes. Now, because the Ravens blitz. The Ravens are blitzers. Now, that doesn't mean they get to the quarterback often, but against this offensive line, it could happen. I want an extra blocker in there on passing first downs. So Conklin can go over the middle, maybe sneak in a pass play to a running back, to a Hall, or to a Carter. I think it's going to be a challenge for the Jets wide receivers to get to play against these man corners, and also Braxton Berrios. I think give him a couple crossing routes, some slants going over the middle of the field. Conklin and Berrios, I think, are 2 weapons. If they have good games, if they have really good games, I think the Jets are going to score some points.
That was one really, really long and really, really excellent point.
I think I'm still under your time on it, so.
I don't know. Everything you said, I was like spot on. Preach.
So Tico, do you have anything to add, or are those your
I agree with all of those points that he said. You got to attack the linebackers. You got to attack the safeties, specifically Kyle Hamilton. I think if you ever get one of our wide receivers or Tyler Conklin on Kyle Hamilton, the ball needs to go there immediately. Immediately. Kyle Hamilton is not that dude. I was saying that before the draft process. Now we're seeing it when he's playing against some of these wide receivers. But to me, I think the biggest thing that we need to do is I'm going to go on our defensive side of the ball. And I think we really need to try and do our best to force Lamar to beat us with his arm. We have to, and I believe that we can, because in the final preseason game, we started to see some non-vanilla defensive calls from Jeff Ulbrich. Some blitzes, some stunts, some complex play designs, amoeba fronts, showing blitz and then backing off, showing things off, and then blitzing, dropping Quinnen into coverage so that we could send 2 linebackers flying in. Like, we saw a lot of creativity from Jeff Ulbrich. And ultimately, if we can get really creative with that front 4 and get to him, or not even get to him, but contain his legs, like with Quan and CJ, and I'm going to just say this out there, Jamian as the 3rd linebacker. I love Jamian and what he was able to do. If we can really contain and do the things that we've been seeing over the last 3 years that these other defenses have been doing to contain Lamar's legs and force him to beat us in the air, that's where we win. Because Quan and CJ and Jamian and Whitehead and Sauce and Hall are a really, really, really good coverage unit. And whoever starts at free safety, who knows, Tony Adams, whatever, Like that's a good coverage unit. That's a really good team versus what they have, because outside of Mark Andrews, which ironically I have on I think I have him on every single one of my fantasy teams. I'll have to look it up. I'm in 3 fantasy leagues, but outside of Andrews, they don't really have a wide receiver, a running back, because Dobbins and Gus Edwards are appearing like they're both going to miss the game. Like, they don't have anything that I'm scared of. Yeah, Bateman is a good wide receiver and he has the potential to be something, but he's not that yet. And Sauce is better. Sauce right now as a rookie, in my opinion, is better than what Rashad Bateman is as a wide receiver.
Yes.
And same thing with DJ Reed. So it doesn't matter if we say, Sauce, you play right, DJ, you play left. Wherever Bateman goes, he's going to be covered by a guy who's ultimately better at their position than he is at wide receiver. And so for me, if we can force Lamar to try to beat us with his arm, and we know he has a weak arm, and if we can try, and this is the hardest thing to do in the NFL, because no team's been able to figure this one out yet, but if we can really try and eliminate Mark Andrews from being a threat in that game, and get rid of Lamar's legs, because most teams seem to only know how to do one, not both. If we can do both of those things, I think we win this game. We just can't be in a shootout, ultimately. Got to hold the Ravens to under 17 points, because I think this offense is good for 24.
Before we go to great points. I agree with you. Before we go to Buffalo, I just want to thank John Nolte. Incredibly generous of you. Really appreciate it, man. I hope to have a great time. We're going to do everything we can to have a great time. I appreciate the well wishes. I will pass your message on to Green Bean, and when I see him, and that you sent that email about, that will all get to Green Bean, my friends. And we're going to be documenting a lot of this trip, so we'll definitely be sharing it with everybody. Everyone will get to have a little look in, and it's going to be. Man, it's going to be a hell of a time. But I appreciate that, John. Thank you for being my 7th subscriber, being so loyal, and always being here, man. And we appreciate you.
That's awesome.
And let's now send it over to Buffalo for your 3 keys to beating the Ravens on Sunday.
Sure. Yeah, Adam, great. But Tigo, we agree. I agree with everything you said, man. 100%. So that's first on Wacky Wednesday.
I'm saving it. It's going to be in my intro next year. Tigo, we agree. That's it.
We agree. No, that was spot on. And I think I won't break down the points on containing Lamar and Andrews that Tigo said, because I agree 100% with his analysis, but I'll just kind of stamp it with this. I think if the Jets can do 2 things, I think if the Jets can keep Lamar Jackson under 90 yards rushing and keep Mark Andrews under 90 yards receiving, they will win the game. I truly believe that. And I won't say that Lamar can't throw. He did lead the league in touchdown passes at one point. But if you got to pick your poison, if Lamar Jackson is dropping dimes to James Proche and Rashad Bateman over the heads of Sauce and DJ Reed, and that's how we lose, then so be it. I think I want this defensive staff. Can we become one of those defenses, a really good defensive coaches, in my opinion? It's not that they can always beat you. It's just that they don't let you beat them with your A game, right? They take away like the 1 or 2 things you do best, and if you're going to beat them, you got to go to your 3rd or your 4th pitch. And can we see this defensive coaching staff do that? I got a hunch that Robert Salah and Jeff Ulbrich really have something up their sleeve for this game. I think they're going to bust something out that we haven't seen before. They've had months to prepare, and I know we, as a fan base, we've been getting on them for like the vanilla defense and the scheme, and I got to wear some of that too. And I hope they make me look like an idiot and they come out there with something special. So I agree with those 2 points. Offensively, so when I first made my video about this, I made the same exact point that Adam made. I do like our tight ends and our running backs against their linebackers against the middle of their field. But you know what my number 1 key is going to be? Our wide receivers and their all-pro secondary. Square up. Like, let's go. Like, Elijah Moore, go get some against Marcus Peters. Go be better than him, because I think you are. Marcus Peters is coming off an ACL, hasn't played in a long time, and, Elijah Moore's best game was quarterbacked by Joe Flacco going against Xavier Howard. Xavier Howard couldn't touch him. And Garrett Wilson versus whoever they got in the slot, I'll take that all day. And then Corey Davis and Marlon Humphrey, maybe they'll go back and forth. But I think that my my mindset right away went to like, okay, where are they weak and where can we steal some things? But really in the NFL, it's those big time players. They make the big time plays no matter who the opponents are. And I think we got some damn big time players on the outside in offense. And let's go cook that all pro secondary. That's the key to me.
God, I'm ready to run through a wall
Ooh,
after that
and
one.
a big part of that is what that's going to be Mike LaFleur to me.
Yeah.
I want to see him come up with some creative formations and routes to get some of these guys in space. Give them a second to get open so that Flacco can throw the ball to them, and let's see him get some. Let's see some stack formations. Let's see some trip formations rather than one here and two here. Let's get creative and let's confuse Peters, Humphrey, and Fuller. We could do this.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're the turnover on their defensive back room. The last thing that I'll say is massive because you have Marcus Peters. Is it Peters who missed the whole year? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Peters misses an entire year.
He might
Marcus
not play.
Really?
Yeah. He said 2 days ago, he said, I'll know when my body is ready. He's not officially playing.
But that's the thing. The turnover in that defensive back room is insane. Kyle Hamilton, Marcus Williams, Marcus Peters, if he starts, these are all guys that weren't there last year. It's a lot of new faces, a lot of areas where communication can break down, I think is the best way to say it. Especially because they're like, it's not like our scheme where we're bringing in guys who are familiar with our scheme or who are rookies who are running college playbooks versus NFL playbooks. All of the guys that we brought in for our secondary are guys that ran this scheme before, outside of Sauce, right? Because he's a rookie. But DJ Reed plays the same scheme that we run a very similar thing that Seattle does. So Buffalo, you had me ready to run through a wall. If we weren't trying to sell this house, I would have put my head through that back wall and fixed it later because you got me hyped, man.
Should be hyped, man.
Comment of like, dude, just go earn your paycheck. These wide receivers, like, we think you're studs. Go earn it. Ooh, got me fired up. I'm sorry, Jeremy. Go.
That's okay. Going back to it, before I start, I just want to say thank you, Dom C. He's on the road listening with intent. He is more concerned about the possibly missing Dwayne Brown than Zach, because we knew Zach, right? So you are right. I mean, the Dwayne Brown thing is very concerning. I'm hoping that it's not a serious injury and they were just being cautious, letting it heal a little better. Maybe, it'll annoy him. That's what I'm hoping. We're going to find out. You say, see you on Sunday. No, Dom, you're going to see me on Friday, I thought. 3:00, right? We're meeting Nick and we're going to be eating on Friday, with snacks. So I expect to see you on Friday. I thought you were going to Coney Island on Saturday. As a matter of fact, I thought Sunday was the only day I wasn't going to see you. But thanks for the super chat, buddy. And wherever you are right now, I hope you're driving and being safe.
Yep. So, by the way, to give you updates on Ravens practice, so limited today was Ronnie Stanley, the left tackle. That's big. J.K. Dobbins, he is practicing, but he is limited, so we don't know if he's going to play. If he doesn't, I think Kenyon Drake will probably get most of the carries. And Marcus Peters is limited. So
he probably
who
plays.
really knows? Yeah, it's very up in the air.
We'll find out. So I think the three keys. Let's see. My number one, and I think I did a video with 5 keys, but like my first key is we got to control the ball. Now, when I'm thinking run game, but it could be short passes, screens, whatever it is. I want longer, sustainable drives. We can't have 1, 2, 3s and outs. I would love to see some, 6 to 8 minute drives that end with scores. I just want to keep Lamar off the field. I want to keep our defense fresh. I think we can help our defense out a lot by keeping the Ravens out of rhythm, keep Lamar out of rhythm. So I want long possessions, whether that be utilizing our running backs and tight ends for short passes as well to get the short yards. Or just Breece Hall and Michael Carter pounding the ball. I don't have the biggest faith right now in our offensive line. There's a lot of question marks, but we got to figure out a way to eat up that clock. My second key is pressure. And when I say pressure from the defensive line, I mean the kind of pressure that is effective also, not just keeping them from long passes to their wide receivers, but the kind of pressure that's going to be so uncomfortable they're not going to be able to own us with screen passes and little Andrews again, of course, right? Like, so it's no good if we're getting through but they're just eating us alive. Like, we're getting through to them in 2 seconds, but he keeps just dumping the ball to Andrews or dumping the ball, short to Likely, and they eat us alive, or they do screen passes. Not good enough. We need the kind of pressure that's going to create problems and disruption for them and disrupt everything, whether it's screen passes, whether it's short little outs to the tight end. I don't care. We need that kind of pressure, the kind of pressure that leads to effective disruption. And then the third thing I'll say is I want to be plus in the turnover.
Yes.
Plus in turnovers. Because I think that you can insert that into any football game in the world. Wow. Unless it's a total powerhouse against a crappy team, turnovers are going to play a factor. And I don't think we could beat the Ravens if we are negative in turnovers. I really don't.
No. That's the easiest way to get an upset. I think you look at that 7 point spread. All that is one Braxton Berrios kick return or one, Quan Alexander pop and a little scoop and score. I can't believe it took us to the fourth guy to mention that one. That's a great call, Jeremy.
Thank you.
One last thing to add, because no one mentioned it, and I thought somebody would, is special teams. We can't be that gaping hole on special teams that we've been in recent years, where we're not able to stop stuff. We're like Braden, we're all excited about Man because he's getting a tackle. Man should not be part of plays, right? So it's one of those things where I think it's time to kind of earn your paycheck on special teams. Justin Hardy, you are on this team over a lot of players that we wanted over you. Jeff Smith, you're on this team over a lot of players that we would have rather had. Calvin Jackson Jr. is no longer on this team because of what you can provide on special teams. Javelin Guidry is no longer on this team because apparently Justin Hardy is that important at sucking at football.
He doesn't suck at football.
There we go.
Football.
He doesn't suck
He
at
did the
football.
same thing last week, and I was ready to.
He's good at special teams, but you never want to see him in coverage. Doesn't provide anything on defense. He is a special teams player. Come on. Don't
Go ahead,
defend
Adam.
Justin Hardy.
Get in there, Y2K.
He's captain for a reason.
Of the special teams. He's
But
a special teams captain.
We should know as Jet fans, we should appreciate special teams more than any other fan base in the NFL.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Hey, when we're this man on offense and defense for this long, we need something to hang our hat on. It's special teams. The ghost of Mike Westhoff is helping us. Matt O'Leary, welcome to the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are amongst royalty. That's right. Matt O'Leary in the chat. I want to just say this. I have to say this every time I see it because it's the truth. It's the most honest thing I could say because everyone thinks, because I am very friendly. Me and Green Bean have a good friendship that we've been building. But just people need to understand before anything, the first thing where I discovered that you could be part of a community on YouTube and talk to other Jet fans was Matt O'Leary. It started with Matt O'Leary. I was just messing around and I wanted to know something. I had some question and I was wondering, and somehow I put the search into YouTube. I may have even done it on Google, but it brought up a YouTube video and it was Matt. And I was hooked, man. I watched 20 of his videos and then I saw the call-in show and I started calling in and I did my whole grandma routine. Everyone, I used to tell people that's another nickname, grandma, because I'm always looking out for people. And it became this thing where I would offer him advice hey, Matt, make sure that, when you're walking, don't walk too fast and trip and stumble and hurt your ankle or anything. I would give him all this grandma advice. But anyway, Matt's been on this show and it was amazing and he'll be on again. I'm just saying that he'll be on whether he likes it or not because I'm going to stick the camera on him on Sunday.
I'm sorry, I can't get off. You said that you watched about 20 of his videos in a row. I can't get that thought out of my mind.
Did you get the Manscaped? Did you use the Manscaped promo code, Jeremy? That's what we need to know.
I haven't ordered the Manscaped yet, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe one day I'll be a sponsor. But anyway, we need to. I'm going to read the super chat, and then we're not done with the segment. Believe it or not, we are going to give the other perspective. We're going to talk about the Ravens and the 3 keys for them beating the Jets. Before I do that, I want to thank Knobcraft. He's already a member, but yet he wants and he gives and provides a super chat. We appreciate it. I appreciate the super chat very much. You guys are killing it tonight. All 4 of you came in hot. Thank you so much, Knobcraft. Getting some good feedback. I appreciate that, guys. We're trying, doing our best. Love to put on good shows. Love to get that feedback and know that we're entertaining people. So we appreciate that. And I'm going to pass to Adam right now. We're going to keep it going. Adam, the 3 keys to the Ravens beating the Jets.
Okay, I'm going to go back to something. I'm sorry, I don't remember if it was Tego or Buffalo, but I'm going to go back to time of possession. It's such a big deal. Last year, the Ravens were 3rd in the league in time of possession. The Jets were 3rd worst in the NFL in time of possession. So if we can even just it was about 32 and a half minutes versus like 27-15. If that could be balanced out, that is going to go a long way. Stopping the Ravens are going to have to run the ball effectively against the Jets. And I wish Patrick Ricard, their fullback, had left because he is an animal. He opens up holes no matter who the running back is. You know what the Ravens remind me of is the Denver Broncos from years ago. I mean, think about those running Olandis Gary, Mike Anderson. They had all these guys that never would have succeeded anywhere else, but they were running behind that huge offensive line, and they looked good. I feel like the Ravens running backs can do the exact same thing, but behind Ricard and behind their offensive line. Now, and Tyler Linderbaum's looking pretty good at center, by the way. From what I'm hearing, all the reports
Is he going to
on
play? I
Linderbaum
thought he
are
was
very
hurt.
positive. He's definitely expected to play. He's not on the injury report, from what I saw. So, and the Ravens love to run in the gaps. They've run gap blocking plays on, I think, about 80% of their runs, and the Jets have not been good at that traditionally. In fact, 0-8. They were 0-8 last year against teams that ran the majority of their run plays as gap blocking. So that run game, that's going to be their bread and butter all day long. This is not a game where we're going to find out about Sauce Gardner. How healthy is DJ Reed? Did Bryce Hall just have one blip of a game in that preseason game? This is a game where guys like Quan Alexander and definitely Jordan Whitehead are going to have pretty fantastic games. And the other thing that I think the Ravens have to do is go to Mark Andrews and go to him quick, or go to their tight ends. I would be running 2 tight end formations. I would put in Isaiah Likely. Charlie Kolar will not be in this game. He's missing the first 4 games at least, I believe. But you know what? Make the Jets prove that they can stop a tight end. I can't remember the last time the Jets had a defense that could actually do that. So, yeah, the Ravens definitely need to go to their tight ends early and often. So there you go.
I like it. Tego, you're up.
So for me, I think it comes down to like 3 specific points. Is you need to hope that Father Time doesn't come and take over your defensive line. If we look at 3 of the 5 people that are slated to start on their defensive line, they are all over 30. They've got Michael Pierce, who's coming in. He is about to turn 30. Calais Campbell just turned 36. And then Justin Houston is 33, gonna turn 34 during this season. And you need to hope that these guys aren't going to be afflicted by Father Time, that they can maintain the level of play that they can maintain on that front. Because if they do, you can take advantage of what is a weak offensive line unit because of time played together on the Jets. This offensive line unit hasn't taken very many snaps for the New York Jets. So if Baltimore can take advantage of that and Father Time doesn't come and destroy those 3 players, and then you got Odafe Owe, obviously young stud on the outside. So there's that. The other thing is Lamar needs to show. This is the year for Lamar to show the rest of the league that he wasn't a one-hit wonder. If he wants to win, if the Baltimore Ravens want to win, he needs to go out there and show us the Lamar that the media can't seem to forget. Because he hasn't been that Lamar in years. But they're so hung up on the MVP year that they keep talking about Lamar, and they keep talking about Lamar, and they keep talking about Lamar. And Lamar needs to come out and show not only is he that good still, but he's added the ability to throw the ball. And then lastly, this offensive line unit, which also had a ton of turnover on the Baltimore Ravens, needs to come out strong. Linderbaum, I didn't know that. I thought he was going to be out. I thought he was still dealing with the foot injury. It's good to know that he'll play. Linderbaum needs to show that even though he's undersized, he was worth being a first-round pick. Morgan Moses needs to shore up his pass protection because we know what he is in the run game. And then Stanley, their left tackle, needs to be better because of the rest of the unit that's around them there, because their guards are pretty solid, but Ronnie Stanley is not that great, and he hasn't been that great recently, and he needs to have a revitalization and go back to normal. If those three things happen, it'll be hard for the Jets to win if they've got everything going in the right way, that way.
All right.
Now, I don't believe in any of those things that I said, just to put it out there. I think that the defensive line is old. This offensive line sucks, and Lamar is a one-hit wonder. But if those things went the opposite way, that's how they would win.
Well,
But
Tigo,
go Jets.
I tell you, Tigo, I hope you like raviolis.
I don't.
I don't either.
I actually don't have anything wrong with raviolis. It's fun to mess with J. Cole.
Yep. So Buffalo, 3 keys on how the Ravens.
Yeah, I think that if I'm the Ravens, I'm looking at number 1. I'm gonna make the Jets prove that they've fixed the ability to stop the run in the screen game. Like, I'm not going to give the Jets the benefit of, like, as a Jets fan, I think those things will be significantly improved. We've talked about reasons why, for months on end now. But if I'm the Ravens, I'm going to make you show me that in the first half. I'm going to do, tight end tunnel screens and running back slip screens to Mark Andrews and Kenyon Drake and read options with Lamar until you can prove, because running quarterbacks, tight ends, and running backs out of the backfield, those have been the Jets' kryptonite. We haven't been cooked. It's not like wide receivers, Stephon Diggs a couple times. It's not like wide receivers go have a field day with this Jets defense recently. It's really been in the middle. Those things. That's number 1. Number 2, I'm looking at a couple of specific matchups that on the offensive line for the Ravens versus the Jets defensive line. I think if these two guys hold up, then the Ravens will be in good shape. Number 1, can Tyler Linderbaum hold his own with Quinnen Williams? I vote no. I think Quinnen Williams is going to eat. But if you're the Ravens, you probably feel really good. They probably feel about Linderbaum like how we feel about ABT. Blue chipper, we all love Linderbaum on the draft. So if you're a Ravens fan, it's not a crazy take that he can come out the box ready to go like a Creed Humphrey at center. And then, the 2 guys who've been injured for a while, Carl Lawson and Stanley. Ronnie Stanley has played 7 games the last 2 years, and he just started practicing this week. So I know he was an All-Pro in 2019. In football years, that might as well have been a decade ago. And I think Carl Lawson, he looks in great shape. So it's a perspective thing. Our guy back from injury, we think he looks great. He's going to dominate. They probably feel the same way about their guy. If those 2 can hold up against those 2 guys, I think the Ravens are in pretty good shape. And finally, for Baltimore, I think a quick start for Baltimore is going to be really demoralizing for the Jets. I think if they come out and it's 10-0, the crowd is going to go quiet, and then Baltimore can lean into that run game, that short passing game, and start forcing Joe Flacco into some desperate decisions, and then there's a turnover. But conversely, guys, can you imagine if we just defer and we kick the ball off to them and we end a 3-and-out like with a sack? It's gonna sound like we won the Super Bowl.
Yes.
It is. I'm literally not exaggerating. That's how it's going to sound. And if we can keep so I guess for the Ravens, what they want to do is stomp the crowd out. But for the Jets, if we can keep the crowd as a factor in this game, it's worth a field goal. Like the people who are showing up to this game, you need to understand we are worth 3 points if we show up and we scream for 3 hours straight.
It's hard, man.
I'm ready to run to New Jersey right now. There you go. I'm training every day.
If we didn't have a newborn, we'd be at that game. Trust. If he wasn't 3 months old, he would be there. But he's 3 months old. But that's a great point that Buffalo Jet fan just made about, like, we all talked about the keys to the Jets winning and all of that stuff. But, like, I think one of the more important things is, and that we didn't talk about, but he did as a positive for the Ravens, is the 12th man, which is that stadium, right? If we can get that stadium bumping and bouncing early, like, do you remember those times when the the Todd Bowles defensive groups were like on the field and they were all dancing and they were all bouncing and like they were like the crowd was in on it and quarterbacks couldn't communicate with their like if this Jets team can keep the 12th man in on it, and we can keep the crowd in on it throughout the game, we have to make playing at MetLife difficult for teams. Like, how people travel really badly to New Orleans because it's hard to play in that dome because it's just so loud because the New Orleans fans, what are they called? What's that? Oh my God.
The who dat? The who dat?
Oh yeah. Who dat nation, right?
Oh, that's what they chant. Yeah.
But like if we can make it difficult to play in MetLife and we can get just a wave of green and a wall of sound hitting these quarterbacks, watch out because it's hard to play in those conditions.
I mean, people talk about how horrible MetLife Stadium is now. I've never been there, so it's not fair for me to comment. But how long has it been since the Jets have had a game where the crowd was like completely into it? They had a reason to be crazy, and they got to be that way for 4 quarters. It has been years. One of the reasons it still feels like the Giant Stadium to a lot of people is because the Jets haven't really had that signature moment. They've never hosted a playoff game at MetLife. Imagine when that does happen, and then when they win one, and all of a sudden MetLife Stadium looks like it's actually green and white instead of half the stadium being filled with Steeler fans or Patriot fans or Dolphin fans.
You have to be able to feel the history.
You have to earn our loyalty and keep it.
Yes.
That's the way it goes.
So I am going to give my 3 points. If I'm coaching the Ravens, if I'm the coach of the Ravens, these are my 3 keys on how I'm going to beat the Jets. Okay. Number 1, I believe if I'm the Ravens, without question, that I'm the better football team because the Jets need to prove that I'm not. Right. So if I'm coach, I'm coming in there and I'm saying, what does a better football team need to do? Not make stupid mistakes. So I'll say for number 1 for them is turnovers. Don't turn the ball over. Don't take stupid risks. Rely on the fact that we are the better football team. That's what I'd be thinking if I'm a coach. I'm hoping that obviously the Jets will prove them wrong. But as a Ravens coach, that's what I'm thinking. With a better football team, one of the ways we're going to lose this game, or the way we can lose this game, is if we're careless and we make stupid mistakes. So I'm going to get rid of stupid mistakes. They have to beat us if they want to win. Number 2, I'm going to stop the Jets' run game, and I'm going to do it without having to put extra men in the box. Right? If they stop our run and push our offensive line around because we haven't looked good against the run, and they force Flacco to have to throw into full coverage and double coverages and all that because they don't have to put that many in the box and they can rely on their line, that's going to create a problem for us. Because let's not fool ourselves. I like Flacco. I think he's a very capable backup quarterback, but he's a backup quarterback. That's what he is. Okay? He hasn't been great since he left Baltimore. Look at his record. We can't get oversold on this guy. Okay? He's good backup. He's a good guy to come in for the Jets and not lose us a game. But if I'm the opposing team and I got a good secondary that I believe in, I'm going to challenge that quarterback. And I'm going to let my guys stop the run, and I'm going to have a full backfield to stop their receivers and make it as hard as possible on him. The third thing finally is protect Lamar. Protect Lamar. And if you protect him and he's comfortable, he's a very dangerous quarterback, right? So I want my quarterback to feel comfortable, and I'm going to protect my quarterback. And those are the 3 ways I'm going to approach the Jets.
Like it.
Very good.
With it.
But they're not going to do any of those things because the Ravens suck.
They're not going to do any of those things because we're better than they think we are.
The Ravens are going to come out and go 5 wide shotgun. I'm calling it.
Do you know where I think they're underestimating us the most? Do you know where I think like what Raven fans don't see when me and Nick were talking to those guys, and what I think overall they really don't see?
The
I think
defensive
the
line.
most underestimated part of our team is Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore.
Oh.
I think they are completely underestimating our wide receiver room. And it's because Elijah didn't turn any heads last year. He got hurt before he could, so other teams don't know about him. They don't see what we're seeing out of Garrett Wilson. Corey Davis got hurt, so he didn't get to finish what could have been a really good season. He could have gotten to 1,000 yards. He really could have. So there's a lot that they didn't see, and this, with it, obviously the addition of Conklin and the tight ends and the addition of Breece Hall and he's dangerous. I don't think they really see, and all these guys are healthy, knock on wood, right now. So I think that that's what they're underestimating. And I think that if they trust that all they got to do is stop the run, and that's what they do, what I think they might do, and they allow, Joe Flacco to try to beat them in the air, we have the receivers and the weapons to make that happen.
Yeah, I agree with that. I hope instead of trying to establish the run early, I hope we go play action and just chuck a couple bombs, like steal a touchdown right out of the gate. I want to see more throws past the sticks on first down. I don't want it to be like run, screen, then it's 3rd and 3 on the first possession, and then like a batted down ball, then you're punting. Like stretch the field right away.
Yes. I want to play action pass deep to Elijah Moore as the first
I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they will.
I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
No, it's not going to happen. But imagine a play action pass, because everyone's going to expect run. They're going to stack the box. You play action it to Elijah Moore. He goes deep. Boom, touchdown, first play.
I see your play action pass, Tigo, and I raise you a flea flicker.
I saw that one, and I don't remember what you were. I think it was yesterday, no, Monday's show or what. I don't remember, where you were talking about the flea flicker, and like they did that with Mark Sanchez right at the beginning, and I was like, yo, that's a bold take for a flea flicker. Like, if the ball's on Mike LaFleur to be like, we're running it. We're giving
he does a flea flicker on a toss. Like, he'll run his running back out wide and jump, throw it back to his quarterback. He doesn't care.
It's like the Music City Miracle.
Yeah.
Play 1 of week 1 of year 2. Like, you're gonna do a flea
Let's go.
flicker. I love it.
And hopefully he has figured out when to do a reverse and when not to do a reverse. It's like when he would do those, we'd either gain 20 yards or we'd lose 10.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mike Low reverse. He seemed to fall in love with reverses a couple times last year, but I think a lot of that was because we didn't quite have the level of talent we had now, and we had to rely on trickery to actually move the ball. I don't think now we need to get quite as crazy as we used to. I hope.
Yeah.
So that was a great segment. I appreciate that, and that was Grandizer who did that. He's such a big help to this channel. He promotes all my guests. He gets people to like the channel. He's such a big supporter. And the funniest thing is he's a Miami Dolphin fan, but he is not obnoxious in any way. He's a football fan just like us, and he's a friend, and he's actually a great sport. Like, in the sense that, hey, he likes us, so he's wishing us luck, and he's obviously not going to root for us against his fish, but he's, he genuinely wants us to have a good year. So he's super cool. He's a big help to this channel. I can't thank him enough. So I want to make sure he knows how much I appreciate him.
That's awesome. And Jeremy, just, I gotta duck out a little early today, guys, but I just wanted to come on. Appreciate it. Good stuff. See you guys soon. If I could plug not something from me, but something from another Jets fan that could use our help. Richie, awesome. Richie from Jets Media is on this AFC East roundtable where he talks with so he's obviously the Jets representative, and he has a Dolphins YouTuber, a Patriots YouTuber, and a Bills YouTuber. And, obviously the chat is just going insane. Like, it's no holds barred. And they don't even put comments on the screen because it's just like a bloodbath. And obviously, like, Bills fans and Dolphins fans are very heavily represented, and the Patriots fans and Jets fans are kind of pushed off to the side. So that's exactly what it's called, is AFC East Roundtable. And if you go subscribe to that, and then whenever you can, even today I didn't have time to watch the whole thing, but I just went in there and just like to talk trash for like 10 minutes, just firing away. And with Bills fans, just remind them that they're Canada's team. That is what you need to do. Just remind them,
constantly.
constantly. And I was like, it's gonna be really good for the Bills to make the Super Bowl this year. Canada could really use a win. And then the Bills guy, like, he started freaking out. He went on this whole rant about how the Jets suck and they've beaten us all these times in a row. And then I said, that was a great rant, man. I hope that you were able to translate it into French for your Canadian watching audience. And he's just like,
the Bills need a Super Bowl because Canada can't win a Stanley Cup anymore. So now they got to take a Super Bowl.
Oh, I love it. That's incredible.
Yeah, so if you guys can check that out. But anyway, guys, awesome time having me on. Can't wait to break down. Next time we talk, we'll probably be reacting to this game or breaking down another one. So can't wait, guys. Take care.
Hey, looking forward to seeing you on Sunday, brother. All right, that was Buffalo Jet fan. Always amazing to have him on the show. Motivated T. Oh, I've seen him pictures from last year. I assume he's going to this year's opener. I'd be shocked if he wasn't. He says, Matt O'Leary said Bateman is better than Corey Davis. How ridiculous is that? So I'm going to say this. I don't know. And here's why. I don't know that he's better. I don't know that he's not better because Bateman is one of those guys who, if Baltimore fans, just like we believe that Elijah Moore is going to break out, there's a lot of Baltimore fans that believe Bateman is going to break out. They think that this kid's ready to explode, and the Ravens have a lot of confidence in him. So I'm not going to agree or disagree. I'm going to admit that I have not watched Bateman enough. I only know that Baltimore Raven fans seem very excited about him. I've heard good things about him. I've heard that he could potentially be a WR1. I'm going to say that I think Corey Davis is underrated, though, by Jets fans. I think that he had some drops, but but people are forgetting the good things that he did. He might not be the best WR1, but he's a very solid receiver. I like Corey Davis a lot, and I love throwing him in there into the mix with Elijah. And I think he's a great compliment to Elijah and Garrett Wilson. And I think that he gets rid of those drops. He's a very dangerous receiver that people might forget about because he was very good last year at times. That second half against Carolina, if you watch our highlights, he had a lot of those touchdown catches, and there were times where he was really in tune with Zach Wilson. So I'm not going to say it's ridiculous. I'm just going to say I don't know. I'm not sure because I don't know Bateman enough.
I would say this. Bateman has pretty high potential, and he's going to probably get more targets than Corey Davis will just by default because the Ravens have only so many options in the passing game. It's like, who are you going to throw the ball to if you're Lamar Jackson? Devin Duvernay? Is anybody getting excited about him? James Proche? I think I'll take Wilson, Moore, Conklin. I think I'll take them as a supporting cast. I think Corey Davis, he may never be the number one wide receiver that people predicted that he could be, but he's he was drafted in the top 5. Yeah, he was drafted extremely high, but he was still on pace last year for a 1,000-yard season and 10 touchdowns. He's had 984 yards in a season in his career before. So there have been people who have criticized him. He's never gotten 1,000 yards. He fell 16 short. Okay, so
didn't he also miss time in that season too?
I think he missed one game maybe in that season, but that was the most. Yeah, I think he before he became a Jet, he missed maybe 4 games in his career. So I don't even consider him really injury prone. It's just he had a core muscle injury and he couldn't get over it. But I actually made a prediction. I did a video today on season predictions for the Jets, and I wanted to throw some bold takes out there, stuff that might get a little bit of a reaction. But one of the predictions that I made, I believe Corey Davis will have more receiving touchdowns than any other Jets receiver. I'm not saying the most yards. I'm not saying the most receptions. But I am saying when they're down there in the red zone, at the time I thought Zach Wilson would play 15, 16 games. Now we don't know. But I figured he had such a connection with Davis that Davis was his target, that was where he would go first in the red zone. So I still think that is possible. But I haven't seen the production from Bateman to where we can say he's definitively better than Corey Davis.
I agree with Matt O'Leary on that one. I think Bateman coming out of college was already a better receiver than what Corey Davis is, in the sense of like, it's not like it's like we're saying like Corey Davis is Juju and Bateman is like AB or something like that in that kind of perspective. They're very close, but when it comes down to it, Bateman, if he can stay healthy, he has a much, much nicer route running ability. He's got very, very crisp routes, which we know Corey doesn't necessarily have. And he's also, with Bateman, he's also got some pretty secure hands with it, which obviously was a knock on Davis last year, and it's not something that he has a problem with in his career. But Bateman, in my opinion, is a better wide receiver than Corey Davis. The real difference maker and why Corey Davis is in a better situation is that Bateman is by himself. That's it. He's solo dolo. He's got no help there. Maybe if you count Mark Andrews as help, I guess, makes sense. But he's got no help in the receiving game, where Corey Davis is arguably, depending on which Jet fan you ask, anywhere from wide receiver 1 to wide receiver 4 on the depth chart, right? Like in the sense of targets. And so, yeah, I agree. I agree with Matt O'Leary. I think Bateman is better than Corey Davis, but Corey Davis just is in a better situation than Bateman is.
All right.
Bateman's the next Ravens wide receiver to request a trade.
So Grandizer says, question to the panel. Is there a Jets player or Jets position you will be watching extra closely in Sunday's game? And I'll start with that. I am going to be looking at, if he plays, I will not take my eyes off of Michael Clemens, because if he takes somebody's head off, I'm not missing it. But I don't know how much he's going to play yet. We'll see. But I'm definitely going to be watching Sauce. I'm going to be watching Sauce Gardner. So even that's one of the few times that I won't be completely focused on where the ball is and watching the other team's quarterback. I want to watch the matchup. I want to watch Sauce Gardner cover. Like, I'm not going to do the whole game and miss the game, but I really want to spend and get a good look at Sauce Gardner. I'm really excited. I think with all the stars that we have, I don't know. I think he's going to be the most electrifying, the most New York. Like, it's going to be Sauce Gardner and the New York Jets are coming to, even if Zach Wilson's great and all these other guys are great, I still think it's going to be Sauce Gardner, because he's just, to me, he's like a media magnet. He's a star. And
I think this team ends up being Sauce and Zach, right? It's Sauce and Zach. It's Zach Smith Avenue and Sauce coming to town, because you got to have a superstar on both sides of the ball.
I'm so excited. I found out they actually have sauce nationwide. I was thinking to be like a New York regional thing. But hey, guys, where we all live, we can all get sauce if we want to. How cool is that? We have a Buffalo Wild Wings. We could get our hands on it.
Wait, actually, that's cool as crap. We might do that tomorrow.
I called my local store. I'm not going to go in there because they've had health violations. But I'll find another Buffalo Wild Wings location. And, I don't really ever eat there. But to try that sauce, don't mind if I do. And all the reviews I've seen have been very positive. So, all good.
Well, look at this.
I'll let you go, Adam.
Jets mess. Before Adam goes, I want to thank you.
Wow.
He said,
thank
Snacks
you.
have a couple of slices on me. Wish I could be there with you guys. I wish you could be there too. Man, I really appreciate that, Mess. Thank you so much. You've been, just so loyal, such a great supporter of the channel. Obviously a member. Very funny. You've brought tons of humor. I really appreciate it. And I am definitely going to, it'll be on video. I'm going to videotape the pizza that we're eating. We're going to eat some great pizza, but I will definitely think of you, and I'll think, hey, I have a few bucks extra right now. I have some money in my pocket, thanks to Jets Mess. And I'm going to directly in my mind say that the money paying for that pizza is coming from you, my friend. So thank you so much, Mess. You are the man.
He's also everywhere, man. He's on my channel. He's everywhere.
He's the ultimate Jets fan, man. But he's awesome. He's the best.
He's like Jets forever, except not annoying.
Right, Jets forever.
Why would you even say that?
He might have heard it.
Is an annoying version of Jets mess. That's what it is.
But I appreciate you, brother, very much. So, Adam, go ahead.
Oh, and I wanted to. That wasn't one. I want to show Iowa. So he's going to have B-dubs for lunch tomorrow. Iowa, take some pictures, take some video. Tell us about your experience. I think that'd be pretty awesome. Okay, what will I be watching closest in this game? I think I'm going to be focused in on the tight ends. I want to see what kind of formations we have. Are we going to go with a 12 formation? Will there be times that we have 3 tight ends on the field? How much does Jeremy Ruckert play? How much does everybody's favorite Lawrence Cager play? I am very interested to see how Mike LaFleur divides time up for these tight ends, because we know he wanted to do it last year, but he didn't have the horses to run the race. Now he's got some depth there. But, I can't imagine there's too many other teams in the NFL that are carrying 4 tight ends. So I am very interested to see who they use, and if they're blocking, if they're receiving, how's this all going to work? Let's check it out.
Yo, it's true.
What just happened?
I just went on my local Buffalo Wild Wings to schedule an order, and they have Sauce Gardner sauce.
I wouldn't steer you wrong when it comes. I wouldn't steer you wrong when it comes to food.
Yo, that's crazy.
Jeremy knows that.
That's cool as crap.
No, Adam is definitely, he's up there with food. He's earned my trust in food recommendations, and Adam is quite the chef too. So.
Ooh. And what needs to happen?
Be careful. J. Cole's going to start ordering dinner now. Be careful.
He's going to want to have a cook-off with you.
While you guys said very, very interesting position groups or players and things like that, those are both the wrong answer. I think the only position group that matters, the only one that matters week 1 is the offensive line. I know what Sauce is, and I want to watch Sauce week 3 against Cincinnati. I want to see him against legit wide receivers, against Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. That is going to be an exciting week where I'm going to watch Sauce, and that's it. I don't care about the rest of the game. Tight ends, while awesome, I hope to God Lawrence Cager doesn't see the field at all. But I know what Conklin and Uzomah are going to do. I feel really confident in that duo. And I made the bet somewhere on a different channel that the first pass caught is by Tyler Conklin, and the first touchdown pass is also to Tyler Conklin. That's when I was still believing that Zach was going to be the guy, but I'm standing by it. I think he's that big of a favorite in the receiving game for the quarterbacks and for Mike LaFleur. But honestly, this team rides and dies with this offensive line. We got a lot of really, really good players on the offensive side of the ball, and none of it's going to matter if the offensive line can't give Joe Flacco and eventually Zach Wilson a beat, can't give Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, Braxton Berrios, Denzel Mims, Breece Hall, Michael Carter, CJ Uzomah, Tyler Conklin. If we can't give these guys a beat to get open and to create that separation, none of that stuff matters. We saw what a bad offensive line, how it can cost you games with Cincinnati last year. And they had a much far worse offensive line, but they also had far better wide receivers, obviously, who are creating separation a lot quicker. So to me, this offensive line unit, you need to watch it, because I believe in the interior of the offensive line, center and guard. It's the tackles that I'm worried about. We know my thoughts on George Fant. And while Dwayne Brown once was a Pro Bowl all-pro tackle, he is also 65 million years old. We have to see what we have from these tackles, because when week 3 comes, all eyes go to Zach. And if this offensive line ain't it, we might be doing mock drafts where we're taking tackles in December. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to do a mock draft until next year. I don't want to do my first mock draft until 2023.
I'll take a mock draft after Thanksgiving. I think we were looking at him by Columbus Day this past season. So, yeah, let's just move it out one holiday at a time. I think that's kind of the goal.
I'll take that. I'll take that. I don't want to do
good points.
I don't want to do a mock draft before December. How about that?
Sounds good to me.
Chris Berrios is our am I saying it right? Is it Chris?
Yeah, Chris Berrios. Yeah, we just signed Chris Berrios.
Is that his younger brother?
Berrios is our punt returner. Berrios, he's our punt
Braxton?
returner. Braxton Berrios is a punt returner.
Braxton had brown hair. Chris Berrios has blonde hair. It looks like
That's what it is. Got it.
That other guy they put on the practice squads who's just very mediocre, but had a punt return touchdown a couple of years ago. That guy is he's just a practice squad guy, maybe for kick returns in the future if they need that. But like Berrios is not being replaced as our punt returner. Like he's our guy.
I believe he's the all-purpose returner as far as I could tell. Snowball, from what I've heard, the Coney Island meetup is Saturday at 11 a.m. My guess is it's going to be, from what I've heard from Green Bean, I believe everybody's going to be around the Cyclone because I know that's what everybody's riding. So I would say head over to the Cyclone, but I'm sure he'll give more info on the show tomorrow night. But I know it's 11 a.m.
It's definitely 11 a.m. It's definitely be there the earlier you get there, the better. But the reason Green Bean does it is at 11 is because the difference between parking at 11 and parking at 12 is night and day. I would say, because I know secretly me and Green Bean are going to go even earlier because we're both neurotic. So get there. If you're going by car, make sure you get there as early as you like. Don't wait around to leave. Just go, and get there and get your parking spot. But the other thing is, if you're taking public transportation, if you're taking a train there or something, if you're taking the D train to Coney Island, then show up by 11 o'clock, right? And just like Adam said, he's correct. It's right by where you buy the tickets to the Cyclone to get on. And you're not going to miss it because there's going to be a lot of people wearing, jerseys. So
yeah, I think the D, the F, the N, and the Q all go down there. There's a bunch of different lines that go to Coney Island. I've been a few times myself.
Yeah, me too. My grandfather used to lived on Brighton 6, so.
And my grandparents and my dad grew up in Bath Beach, right near the Verrazano Bridge, so off the R line. Back in the day. So, where that event's going to be, it's only a few minutes away from where I used to spend a lot of holidays as a kid.
Chrono Kenny, welcome to the channel. Does Breece Hall get a touchdown? I think he might.
Week 1
this week. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no this week. I think Michael Carter will get more. I think it's going to be a very, very close thing between Carter and Hall. Hall's going to have to earn his playing time.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 60-40 Michael Carter Hall thing.
I think, and I think with the situation, I can envision a situation where the Jets are down and have to throw the ball a little bit more to come back. I'm not seeing it this week.
I will remind you, though, on the flip side of that argument, there's one thing that Breece Hall was really good at in college, and I know it was college, but he's good at sniffing out that end zone. So, I mean, even if you think he's not, it's like he's always one big home run away, right? I mean, the guy's a home run hitter as a runner, so you never know when he's going to break a 35-yard run for a touchdown or a 40-yard run for a touchdown. It could happen at any moment with him. I believe that. But I think those are reasonable odds. I think 100 to win 270 if he does is a fair, the odds makers know what they're doing because that's probably about right. Like the odds are it won't happen, but it very easily can happen.
So let's ask this question. How many touchdowns do the Jets get on Sunday? Let's just break it down and find out where Breece Hall gets his touchdown, if he does, right? I have 3 touchdowns.
I'm thinking 2.
Okay. What are you thinking, Jeremy?
For how many touchdowns we score?
How many touchdowns do we score on Sunday?
Let's just say offense.
No. 3 touchdowns.
All right.
How many touchdowns
3.
do the new?
I have us getting 3 touchdowns.
Okay.
Right, I guess I'm the negative one, but that's all right.
Let's follow up that questions of those because it's 3 to we won, right? There's 2 threes. There was 1, 2. So we're going to say let's get 3 touchdowns. Of those 3 touchdowns, are any of them defensive touchdowns? Do we get a pick 6, a scoop and score, and anything like that?
I think we could, but I don't predict those things. I think the likelihood is the 3 touchdowns will come offensively. One of them might come because of great field position because of a turnover.
There you go.
So, okay. So we have 3 offensive touchdowns. How many of those are in the air and how many of those are rushing touchdowns? While you guys think, I'll say
two
my answer.
two passing, one rushing.
I have the
I'll-
same exact statistic.
I would go 1-1. I'm going to say Conklin receiving and Carter running.
See, that's where I go as well. I go, if we're going to get 3 touchdowns, I think it's 2 passing and 1 rushing. The rushing goes to Michael Carter. One of the receiving goes to Conklin, and it doesn't matter because I don't think Breece Hall's the other receiving touchdown. So it'll end up being Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, Garrett Wilson. It could even be Tyler Conklin again. And so you'll see that happen. And so that's where I look at it and I go, I just don't think that the Jets are going to trust Breece Hall in the red zone just yet because they're going to make him earn it.
I agree with you. I think that's a very fair point.
That's just
and
that's
you know
how
what?
it
The way
goes.
that this always goes, everybody's saying the same guys. Conklin, Moore. At this rate, watch Denzel Mims will get his first career touchdown on week 1.
On, like,
it's
play
going to be
3.
the guy no one expects.
I would love
Oh,
it.
watch Ty
gonna be
Johnson.
Jeremy
It's going to be
Ruckert.
Ty Johnson. Just
Yes.
Ty Johnson, our goal line back. Here we go.
If Ty Johnson gets a touchdown, I'm gonna be unbearable to everybody who was a Ty Johnson.
Oh, I
hater.
could, but I won't.
I'm gonna
Daniel-
be unbearable.
Daniel
It's
Cook.
when does a win feel like a loss? There's your
When Ty
answer.
Johnson gets 2 rushing touchdowns.
Daniel says Flacco has mad targets. Ravens can't cover them all. And I agree. I think that's going to be one of the things they're underestimating. Hey, look, if Ty Johnson was to get 2 rushing touchdowns or a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown, I don't care. I'll be happy because remember, as much as I disagree with the roster choice and as much as I think he shouldn't be a Jet, as soon as he puts on that uniform on Sunday, I'm rooting for him hardcore because I'm a Jets fan. So if he does that and he breaks out and he's great, I'll be happy to be wrong.
Question about confusing things that the roster did, that Joe Douglas did on the roster since the cutting of Will Parks and Jason Pinnock and the keeping of Tony Adams. Have either of you guys been able to watch or taken the time to watch anything on Tony Adams?
I know that there was
Because I have, but I just want to know you guys.
I want to say that Blue had put it up. I just hadn't had a chance to watch it yet, but it's in my to watch playlist. Let's put it that way. I'll watch it. Just haven't yet.
Let's speak. Hey, yes, I am going to be at the Coney Island meetup. I will be there for sure. Right, I'll be standing right next to the big ugly guy with the giant beard. So,
Frankie's coming. I'm just kidding.
Don't call
So you never answered my
Frankie,
question.
if you're watching, I'm kidding, buddy.
Frankie is adorable.
Yes.
I told
Have you
man,
watched
I'm-
any Tony Adams, Jeremy?
I have not gotten to watch him. Have you?
I have.
Well,
I will
tell me.
say this.
Talk.
I was pleasantly surprised. I kind of get it. I never thought Will Parks was for this roster. Just because of the age, journeyman, there has to be something there, right? But I also never had Tony Adams on this roster. But after watching it, and I watched my own tape, and then I watched Joe Blewett's review of it, and I really like Joe Blewett and some of the takes that he has. I was pleasantly surprised with Tony Adams.
What was it that surprised you?
He seems like a guy like Tony Adams seems like the NFL player that he's going to be the long snapper of the defense. You're never going to mention Tony Adams's name because in a negative way or in a positive way. He's not going to get you the interception or anything like that. But he's also not going to be the reason we lose a game. He's not going to let a wide receiver over the top of him hit him deep like Marcus May and the you know what I mean? Like in those situations, like he's just Harlan said it. He's just a good player. He's not great. He's not a world beater. He's just a good player. And I was pleasantly surprised.
Do you think he could fill the free safety role though? Is he a free safety as opposed to a strong safety? Because if he can play that center field, we need that. That is as big a hole on this defense as man, in terms of starters, I think it's that free safety because nobody really grabbed it.
I'll say this. I have no idea if Tony Adams is our free safety of the future. But I will say this. I always do my prep for the draft way too early so that I can start scouting players for next year, because I actually like watching the tape and stuff like that. So I go under my assumption of what this roster needs and things like that. And I will say this. Before I had here are the 3 positions that I'm going to watch, right? And the 3 positions for me going into this year were offensive tackle, linebacker, and safety. After watching the Tony Adams stuff, safety is no longer in my big 3. I have now put interior defensive lineman in there because I want to get a dog next to Quinnen. And so now I am going to be focusing when I watch college football on the offensive line, specifically tackle, the interior, the defensive line, and linebacker, because I think we need those, because I really like Tony Adams, and I think that he might be the guy for us at free safety.
Interesting. Quick shout, Knobcraft and Dark Soldier. They're both gonna hit skids. So guys, thanks so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. And thank you for the super chat, Daniel Faust.
Thank you, Daniel.
I told you, Salah to give consulting
fee to Tico. O told, I told.
Thanks for the super chat, my friend.
Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's the dream. That's honestly the dream. If I could just be an NFL consultant, I would do it for all teams not named New England or Miami. I was talking to this with Jeremy about, like, I'm going to teach my kid football and all that stuff. And the only thing I hope is that he doesn't get drafted to one of those 2 teams. Because that would break my heart.
Can I ask you guys a random question for opening day, something that we never talk about on the show? Just some random. What uniforms do you want to see of the current ones? Of course, do you want to see them wear for opening day? Green, white, what combo? Green on green, white on white, green on white. What do you want to see?
I never think too much about uniforms. I know my favorite uniform is right now, the ones I get and buy that are my favorite are the black with green on, the green on black.
Yeah, we know which days those are going to be. It's only three games.
Yeah. I know that's not going to happen, but like, I don't know. I've always been okay with the white with green, or like I never really thought about it much. I just like the stealth black.
I want us in Gotham green shirts and spotlight white pants.
Because as of late, opening day, they always seem to wear white at home to start the season. But now it's after Labor Day, so I think that's a no-no, isn't it? I don't think.
Again, I don't care as long as we win.
I know that. It doesn't matter if they wear green pants, white pants, black pants, or no pants. Just win.
They come out in the Notre Dame jerseys or whatever. For all I care, the blue and golds. Man, I don't care as long as you can get a dub against the Ravens.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm not a fan of the green pants in this color scheme. I like green on white or white on white, but I think the white on green took a hit when they changed this uniform thing over. So yeah, just my thought. But yeah, I definitely like the black ones, especially for the night games. The way the lights reflect off like the dark helmets, the way that's going to look this year. Oh, it's gonna be something.
The blackout games are going to be legit. I'm waiting because I want to order. I tend to wait when I order jerseys, like for players and stuff. Yeah. And I ordered my Zach Wilson jersey after the Houston game, because that was the first game where I was like, he's an NFL quarterback. Like, I believe in this kid, and I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. And then I felt vindicated by the Tampa game until the Braxton Berrios slip up, not where he didn't give the ball to Braxton, but. This year, I am because I want to have all 3 colors. I have the Gotham green; it's back there somewhere for my Zach Wilson. But I know that my next 2 jerseys are going to be Sauce and Elijah Moore. I just don't know which one to get in stealth black and which one to get in white. I'm leaning Elijah Moore in black, Sauce in white. I just don't know what the correct answer is, because like if you're wearing a Sauce jersey, you got to have some sauce with your wings, right? Like I'm normally like a naked wing kind of guy, and a white jersey is scary with some sauce.
That's the fear of the white jersey. Yep.
This is what I think about at night while I'm dreading moving because my son is sleeping on me.
Was the first dance at your wedding magical? Talking to Tigo.
No. Not really. It's really awkward because there's like 200 people staring at us, and we're just like, why? What's going on? And then we had to remember that we just got married.
What was the song?
La Vie en Rose.
Okay.
I don't remember Louis Armstrong's La Vie en Rose. That's what.
Louis Armstrong. Okay, very nice.
That's our song.
Oh boy.
So Tony Adams, would you say, like, this is what the impression you're giving me? He's not this big play, crazy, like anything that's going to stand out star.
Yes.
But at the same time, unlike Jason Pinnock, why he got cut, he's not going to miss tackles. He's going to be solid. He's going to make the tackles he needs to make. Would you say that he might become like a Marcus May type of guy? Because I didn't think Marcus May is a big star, big play guy. I thought him as just really solid.
Agreed.
Marcus May had some special in him, right? In the way that he could control his body. You could see it in some of his pass breakups when he would be like turning and get a hand or an arm in there. And I don't necessarily see that from Tony Adams. It's like I'm saying, like Tony Adams is a guy that he's just never going to be out of position. So he's not going to need to make any kind of special move. You know what I mean? You know how like some players who are special make up for the fact that they're out of position or that they've messed up with their special kind of an ability. How AB covered up a lot of Big Ben's flaws towards the end of his career because as long as you could throw the ball within a 6-foot radius of Antonio Brown, he would go get it. And so all you had to do was kind of know where in the field he was and you could toss it there. Tony Adams doesn't have that. But Tony Adams is not going to, like I said, he's never going to be the reason you lose a game. He's never going to be, it's kind of, look at it. The guy's good. I like the guy a lot.
There he sounds better than like Elijah Riley or Ashton Davis. So.
Well, he won't lose us the game like he won't lose us a game the way Redwine did.
Exactly.
Oh,
he's never going to be the reason we lose a game, but like in the same sense, he's also never going to be the reason we win a game.
Right.
He's never going to be the pick six guy. He's never going to read and react I hope I'm wrong here, but like, I just don't see him being I'm going to read and react, come downhill, get the interception and make it all the way down. You know what I mean? But I love Tony Adams. And I think he's going to surprise a lot of Jets fans. And like I said, I took safety off of we should take, like, I like to scout for second and third round talents throughout the year. Safety's not on my list anymore. We can get a safety in the 4th, the 5th, the 6th. Get a safety with the Blake Cashman pick for all I care.
Well, I got a 12-minute video of Tony Adams, and as soon as we shut it down, I'm going to go ahead and watch that video and
it's interesting.
See if it's something worth watching. I've got a couple clips from Illinois, but it's about time we dove into my fellow Adams and see if those Jamal Adams jerseys are worth saving. Just change the numbers.
I really wanted him to switch to 33.
Yeah,
just because it would have saved so many jerseys.
Yeah. Do you think
I already gave up on mine? I took mine to Goodwill years ago. I gave up. I just couldn't do it anymore.
See, I keep all those. I still have my Geno Smith jersey.
Huh? Do you see Adams as like a backup most of his career? Like, is he going to be like the first guy in, like the number 3 safety on the team, or do you think he'll be a starter?
He can be a very high end backup and a very low end starter. It just depends on what we want to do at safety. That's the real question, right? If we decide that we want to throw a bunch of money at a safety, which I don't see this organization doing at all, but if we decide to throw a bunch of money at a safety, like if Jesse Bates is available and we can fit him under contract, I'm not going to say keep Tony Adams over Jesse Bates. Wow. You know, if what was the Penn State safety? Brisker, right?
Brisker. It was Jaquan Brisker.
Yeah, Jaquan Brisker, right?
Like I wanted that for the brisket.
If there's like another one of those guys that's available in the second round, and you know what, we've decided that Quan plays all 17 games, and we're bringing him back, and we don't necessarily need a linebacker that high, and we go sign Orlando Brown. Like, I'm cool with taking a safety in the second round to replace Tony Adams. So it's not like Tony Adams is 100% eliminated the need for us to get a safety, but it's also not a need anymore. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need a safety. We have one. That's pretty good. So we can go without one, but we should still probably get one.
And if he's good enough, you know what? He's going to have the opportunity to prove it, because nobody's grabbed the starting job. And the player who we thought would be the starter at safety, you know what? He's on the other team across town. So the opportunity is there. Go grab it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So this is actually a good question by Jay Cole. He goes, "Are you going to stream on football Sundays?" So I am. This is what my Sundays are going to look like. Just so everybody knows, my Sundays are going to look something like the Jet game, which is usually the early game. I think that's going to still be the case. I'm going to be on Jet Nation with Green Bean. Right? We do the watch party together, and you could watch us cover the Jet game. 10 minutes after the game ends, I think the three of us often are going to be on Buffalo Jet Fan. We're going to be on his channel doing a post-game wrap-up show. As soon as that wrap-up ends, I'm going to jump on with my brother for the second half of the late games, like the 3 games that are the late games typically. And we call it the Red Zone Watch Party, because what my brother will watch a game, I'll watch a game. I have the satellite so I can get them all. We watch the 2 that are interesting. If 3 of them, out of the 3 of them, if only one is interesting and 2 of them are blowouts, we'll both watch the same one, whatever. But it's a way to hang out, look at other teams, enjoy watching other games without the pressure. And sometimes we get other fans for those teams in there, and it's just a good way to hang out. So that, and then maybe Sunday night I'm going to come on again. I still got to decide on that because I might be too tired. I don't know. But anyway,
that's a lot of content.
It's a lot of content because, doing the game with Green Bean, then doing the show at Buffalo, and then doing the second half or whatever of the late game. I'm usually pretty tired after all that, but I love it, man. I do love it.
I'm excited for those post games.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. Like from the first one we do, which I guess will be week 2 of the season, compared to what it looks like by the end of the year. I bet it's going to change. It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be how we get our rhythm going. It's going to be
funny because like obviously we're going to be doing the me, Jeremy, and Buffalo. We're going to do the immediately after the game ends, our live reaction, and I'm very curious to see specifically in myself because I can't I don't like making videos when news comes out immediately because I have an instant gut reaction take that's generally not the one that I follow up with. That after I think about it and I take a second to process and I'm like, you know what, this isn't. It's like the Quan Alexander signing, right? My gut punch was yeah, well, there goes our young linebacker core. We're not gonna figure out what these guys are. It's all ruined. Everything's over. But it's interesting to see where we go from week right after the game, win, loss, or whatever, to when I do my review probably the next Monday, where I have time to digest. I've watched other football games. I can relax with some fantasy and deal with it and really evaluate it because I want to look back and just see what were my hot takes of just you're upset or you're really happy and you're a Jets fan versus here's what the actual evaluation is.
Answer Daniel's questions. If Flacco and the Jets actually go 3-0, what do they do? Daniel, it's very simple. As soon as Zach Wilson is healthy, he plays. We have a quarterback to evaluate, and we need to find out what we have in him. And if that means 1 or 2 more losses, if that's what it means, fine. But we need to know what this quarterback is and if we can hitch the wagon to him going forward. It doesn't matter what the record is.
There's no quarterback controversy. It just
you start Zach week 4. It doesn't matter what it is.
As soon as he's healthy. As soon as he's healthy. So as soon as he looks good in practice, he's got a lot of reps. He's healthy. His knee is strong. He could definitely take tackles. The doctors are all thumbs up. Because if we're winning, we definitely are not rushing him. That's the only difference. If
too many caveats.
If we're 3-0 and he's still not quite there and he looks a little iffy, they might say, "Oh, well, we're 3-0. We could," but it's not because they want to keep going with Flacco. It's because we're going to do what's best for Zach. Flacco is 37 years old. If we go 3-0, it's probably going to be because of the receivers and the running game, that Flacco's being a good game manager. He's not the future guy that's going to be that franchise guy because of his age and because we've seen him the last few years. He's just not that guy. What we're hoping is he's good enough to manage the game, not make horrible mistakes, manage the game, get the ball to our playmakers. That's it. So no quarterback controversy.
See, I think you also put way too many caveats for Zach. Week 4, Zach is on the field, even if both of his legs are broken and he doesn't have arms. Like,
you need to evaluate the kid.
What's he
Even
gonna do?
if he gets
He's
shot.
gonna headbutt the ball.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
got it.
He's gonna hold his jersey like that, and he's just gonna snap it right into it and run. I don't care. Zach is out week 4. If we're 3-0, 0-3, 2-1, 1-2, Zach starts because Flacco is 30,000 years old and Zach isn't. And we need to know what Zach is.
Silly Fun Guy. What's up? He is a friend of, he comes from the Payo Time channel. He's a Rams guy.
Heyo.
Rams guy and a
I
friend.
haven't seen Payo in a while.
Friend to the
Yeah.
Jets community. Yeah, I got to check in with Payo, but he's okay. I mean,
And Payo's in Canada, right?
yeah. He's
So
in,
that's
Toronto.
interesting. So he's in Bill's country, I guess that means.
Wow.
He's in Toronto, but he's a big Rams fan, obviously.
Oh, so he's in Buffalo. Buffalo is part of the GTA. A lot of people don't know this.
There you go.
It's part
I'm
of the
sure-
greater Toronto area. And I know this as a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. I know a lot of the boroughs in the GTA, and Buffalo is very clearly a part of the GTA.
I never heard the term GTA until 20 seconds ago.
This is the final question before we have to wrap up. I'm sure you all talked about this a lot, but how do you feel about the Ravens game? I know you guys feel how feel with the date and how important that is to you. And we haven't brought that up, but I do want to say that that's what makes me think we're not going to get blown out. And I would be real that I gotta say, if we're not competitive, I will be extra angry. I will, because I will be extra angry that they let it happen on 9/11. It does mean something to me. It's not insignificant. The fact that someone is coming to our stadium, in view of what happened that day right across the river, to me, it would be unacceptable for every player on our team, and they better bring it up in the locker room. It better come up that they are representing a city, an area, because it's not just New York, it's New Jersey, and it is New Jersey as well. We lost a lot of people in New Jersey. A lot of, good people died. It's a very important thing that nobody, I think all of us, when we remember 9/11, should be our best selves. So every one of our players are expected to come out, not even more than any other week, and show respect by doing their best and giving 1,000% and playing with all their heart, because people, a lot of people, especially a lot of heroes that were running up the stairs of that building, died that day, giving their best and being the best, their best version. So to me, it means something. It means a lot. They must come out and be competitive. They must play 100% on every single play. If not for the meaning of the game and football, and that's your profession and the fans, but to do it for 9/11, the victims of 9/11, the heroes of 9/11, it's a very significant day for us. And I would be very upset, maybe more than being 0-1, if they got blown out and made embarrassed themselves and didn't play with heart on that day. That's just not acceptable to me.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. I think it'll hurt. If we win, it'll feel better because we won on 9/11 at home. We did it, for FDNY. We did it for NYPD. We did it for all those guys and all that stuff. And we did it for, like the people from our city and our fellow countrymen who gave the ultimate sacrifice on that day. And then it'll hurt more if we do lose because of all of those same reasons. And the only fear I have is like a lot of their kids, like, don't know, not that they don't know, everybody knows about 9/11, but like it's hard to relate to a tragedy that didn't affect you the way that it affected the rest of us. You know what I mean? Like, I was 6 when it happened, and I remember not understanding what happened on that day because I lived in New Jersey at the time, and the window from my bedroom, we lived in Kearney, New Jersey, looked over to the skyline of New York. And I used to always say that when I grow up, I'm going to work in one of the Twin Towers. And then the next day after I saw one of the planes go into it, not understanding and having that conversation like with my mom and my dad of like, but like, where is it? I can't sleep without looking at it. Then, it's just it'll feel better. And I'm just going to speak it into existence. It'll feel better when we win week 1 because of the date and the importance of it.
Yep.
For me, it is personal for me because my dad worked on Wall Street at the time. And every day he took the PATH train from New Jersey to the World Trade Center and then walked to the New York Stock Exchange. He was in the first World Trade Center about 30 minutes before it was hit. He was very fortunate to make it home that night. And I say that because the public transportation was practically shut down except for, I think, one line, which he was able to take to get home. And all these years later, he still deals with breathing difficulties, with asthma. And I'm very thankful that he is still alive, but his life is limited. It is compromised because of it. So, there's never been a more personal tragedy for me. I was in college at the time when it happened. It's one of those few days of my life when I have so many vivid memories, so many vivid snapshots. Like I could tell you what I was doing, where I was, different things that happened that day. I still have those vivid memories burned into my mind, as so many of us do. I am interested to see. I feel like this topic has not come up too much in leading up to the game. Everything has been, I know it's only Wednesday, there's still a few days, but I am curious to see if this becomes a topic that does come up in the media, if it's something that the coaches do talk about, if it's something that the players do talk about. Does it give them the extra motivation, or is this more of a fan thing? But I'm sure there will be an American flag that will cover the entire field. And if you're an athlete and you're helping to hold that flag, if you're not feeling it at that moment, I mean, check your damn pulse, get a new job, get out of the NFL. Because if you can't feel the emotion there, if you can't give your best, not just play your hardest, but also your smartest, play that. There's a difference between playing hard and being reckless, but play smart. That is how they can play great fundamental football together. We're not asking you to have the most talent. We're not asking you to kick Baltimore's ass. What we're asking you to do is to play together and give your best for 60 damn minutes. That's all we can ask of you. And if you win, fantastic. But give us hope that this is the beginning of a new era of Jets football, and that guys like us, guys who are in the chat, that this community that we have is not just going to be looking towards the distant future, but we can start living for the here and now. We deserve it.
Yeah, we absolutely do. And very well said. We're going to wrap it up, guys. Talking Jets with Tigo. What you got coming? Let's do some quick promos just to let the people know. And we'll get out of here. And guys, just check my channel out on Sunday. Tomorrow you might see me and Y2K on the Green Bean stream. So there might be a little bit. I might be calling him from the airport. Actually, I'm not really sure where I'll be when he's on.
I need to get on with Green Bean, man.
It's gonna be.
I guess I'll be monitoring the super chats tomorrow night.
Yeah, you might. You might definitely be. And then but
I gotta get rid of all the sex bots.
pay attention on Sunday. Make sure you have your notification bells on, because you never know when I'm going to come in. My brother might be covering the game by himself, but I'm going to call in every once in a while. So that's what I got going on. I'll be back to normal, back here for my show on Wednesday next week, so that won't miss a beat. And what you got going on, Tigo?
So as Grandizer just put it. I think the best way and the place where if you want to catch most of my content is obviously my YouTube channel. I try posting there quite regularly. It's hard, obviously, with the baby, but I try to get the content out as regularly as possible when it comes to the Jets stuff. I'm also trying to get better with on the weekends and stuff, writing for the Jets publication for Stadium Rant called the Jets Joint. One thing that I did want to plug is I did just do a live stream last Monday with the one, the only YouTube Jets royalty. Ryan from Jets Talk 24/7 came on my lowly little channel, and we did about a 45-minute, hour-long live stream where we talked specifically about what we believe is our game plan to go beat Baltimore, what we should do, and all of those things to beat Baltimore. It was good fun. Go watch over there, and if you guys are a Jets fan in the chat, if you feel like helping me out, there are some Baltimore Ravens fans in the comment section trolling. So if I can get Jet Army to go out there and let's just show these Baltimore fans that their team sucks. They've got a one-hit wonder under center, and they've got no wide receivers. Bateman should not be called Batman because he's more like Robin. So if you could head over there for that. But that's really it. Follow me on Twitter. All that good other stuff that you hear people plug. Really, the main thing is obviously just the YouTube channel. And I'm going to try to see if I can get another guest to do a live stream next Monday at 10 because I think it'd be a really cool to have like a live stream every Monday talking about the next week's game, especially because it'll be so early on that we won't have time to really evaluate it. We'll still be reeling from whatever the previous game is. It'll be our raw, honest, unfiltered takes about how we beat the team in week 2, week 3, week 4. And I would like to have it be a rolling guest, a different guest every week. So I'm going to try to set that up. That's really it.
Well, for me, you can check out my YouTube channel at NY Sports Wicker Media. I did a video today about my season predictions for the Jets. I went into offense. I went into defense. I went into special teams.
It's a good video.
I made a prediction for, I think, might be the biggest upset the Jets might have this year, victory, and the most disappointing loss. Breakout players, disappointing players, season record, we went into it. And I do have 2 things that I'm going to be doing, and I plan on doing these each week. So it looks like Thursday I'm going to do 5 bold predictions for the game. All right, I'm going to just look for some crazy takes, something a little bit different. And Monday I'm going to do a recap video for every game, the 3 plays that you may not remember that affected the outcome of the game. So I want to provide some unique content. So I plan on doing that on Thursday and then the second one on Monday. So check that out. And you'll see me with Green Bee tomorrow night trying to stump the room in the 4-minute drill, as we're now calling it. And as far as Sunday goes, I can tell you this. I think it's going to be a pretty fantastic experience hanging with my friends. And I can't wait to tell you all about it.
All right, man. Thanks, guys. Thank you to the chat. Thank you for everybody supporting the show. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for the people that aren't chatting and just watching. And thanks to the people who will be watching over the next 48 hours. Appreciate you all. Appreciate all the comments you guys leave who watch the show afterwards. Go Jets. Here we go, baby. We're almost there. Take care, everybody.
Don't not be Thibodeau. And here it comes. It's about to come in. Oh, my God. They didn't. They took Sauce Gardner. Oh, my God. They don't want an edge. Maybe he likes Jermaine Johnson at 10. Then we're not going to get a wide receiver?
Garrett Wilson, wide receiver. Oh, my God. No edge. The Jets traded up. The Jets traded up. Are we taking JJ? Are we taking JJ? Because I know Braden is in New Zealand saying, we should get Yuli, Mike. He's definitely saying that. JJ! We got Johnson! We got Johnson at 26! We got Johnson at 26! This is great! Yes! They took Roger McCreary. They didn't take Dean, and we traded up. We can get the Kobe Dean. We can get the Kobe Dean. It really is. They took Breece Hall. They took Breece Hall. Wow. I mean, look, I love Brees Hall. But there's also Jeremy Ruckert, who I think is the best tight end in the class personally. They took Jeremy Ruckert. He took Jeremy Ruckert. Yes. We got a Jeremy. We got a Jeremy. Oh, and the Jets pick, and it's Max Mitchell, offensive tackle. We needed that. That's wow. We took Michael Clemens. I never heard of him. A defensive edge